Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the stream. I do apologize for the bit of delay that was present. However, welcome. I already see that Rich Money Makers is in the chat, so big up to you, Rich Money Makers. Thank you for finding the time to join the show as well. So big up to you, big up Rich Money Makers, and I appreciate you, finding the time to come here, and I also appreciate this comment right here. We're getting there. We're getting there. Slowly but surely we're getting there. So, it's all about being patient and just trusting the process, which ironically is very connected to the topic for this stream. As you can see by the banner that is scrolling across the screen, the topic, the title as well, is Will Enzo Maresca's tactical approach work at Chelsea? It will be a live discussion. It will be a discussion that I will obviously perhaps have a, sort of back foot in. I may not communicate as much. I may not share much, but I will say a few stuff just before I allow Jerry Z here to my left to you know progress with the continuation of this planned show. So, Williams Maresca's tactical approach work at Chelsea. It's a topic that I believe some fans will be divided on. I know some fans, I'm not going to be calling names, are perhaps fond of the appointment still. Obviously, it's not straightforward. It wouldn't be straightforward. No one can really know for certain. We all know that this is speculative. We are speculating, we are assuming, we are making assumptions, and we are going to be giving opinions on the situation. No, there will be items that will be discussed as we progress. There will be items that will discuss and will facilitate and assist in discussing this topic in its full length. But what I will say about this, because I'm going to play it safe, not like Southgate, but play it safe. Will Enzo Maresca's tactical approach work at Chelsea? There has been indications that he could, be able to strike that balance with certain players. There are players that would, I believe, they would gel into what he wants and what he demands of his players. Obviously, I know some fans are not going to be able to get past the fact that he is inexperienced in coaching. He's still very young in terms of coaching, and he is a fresh mind to a lot of the philosophies. Yes, he would have worked with certain individuals, worked under certain individuals as a player as well, but can he translate what he would have done at Leicester City, albeit not be as it wouldn't be as fun of using Leicester City, using the situation of his Leicester City team struggling in the latter stages. Will he be able to get his tactics to allow success? Will he be able to achieve the objectives that we are hearing are set in place? Will that be the case? Which Moneymakers is saying yes, if he finds his top 11 players ASAP, which I mean that's true. I mean if you can select a starting 11 that can work, then it'll be good. But I also believe you need to have a contingency plan. You need to have a plan B. You also need to have a team that can be rotational, a squad filled with rotational players. Welcome, Garvan. It's a pleasure to see you. Thank you. Welcome. Big up to you. Now, before I do hand over the show to some extent to Jerry Z, I will say this: his tactical approach is one where it's unique. One where one where we obviously know that it comes with a lot of understanding. It comes with understanding each other. All players that are playing on the pitch have to understand each other. They have to anticipate their teammates' next move, understand what could happen, what passes to expect. The philosophy is it's clear, but at the same time, if you don't understand it, then you can make mistakes. And a lot of the times, at Leicester City is as well, they made a lot of mistakes because you make one, two passes here, and then it's miscalculated. It's the weight on the pass isn't correct, and then that leads to you turning over possession. And we all know that it's important, especially in a Enzo Maresca system, that the players try to retain possession, try to keep the possession, and it's like that old school saying: if you keep possession and if you have possession of the ball, you're less likely to concede. So it's an old school approach in terms of keeping possession and trying to retain it and to keep it for long periods. However, you know it is important that the players understand it, and this show, the continuity of the show, will see the discussion on if certain players will be able to bend into what Enzo Maresca demands of his players, and the players that are at the club already, will they be able to succeed or be able to do well in the system or the tactical approach that Enzo Maresca will come with. So I'm gonna stop talking now. I'm gonna let Jerry Z here, give his first words in this show. But before I do that, I just want to check the chat once more. I see we have quite a lot of, well, we have quite a few people here. So big up to you, Meyer. Big up to you, as Garvin is in the chat as well, and as I said before, big up to Rich Money Makers as well. Now, Jerry, you've been sitting here for the past 8 minutes just listening to me talk. So what's going to be your first words? What is your thought? Will Enzo Maresca's tactical approach work at Chelsea?
First of all, hello. Thank you for having me, and so nice to see you back. After this, difficult time. I'm sure that people would love to know. So why don't you first update us? Because so many people in the audience in the community, right? They were asking me. They all care. Where is Ty? Is everything okay in Jamaica? So, if you could please, for a minute, if you don't mind, this is important. The football is important, but the welfare, the relationship are even more important, right? So, if you don't mind, the first-hand update from the man himself, Ty.
Wow. Now I kind of wish that I hadn't handed over the show to you yet, because if your first words is to me to give an update, so it's crazy. But yeah, it's a lot of people, and I think a lot of the audience, not many persons know that I'm in the Caribbean, in Jamaica, and some persons may have been aware of hurricane season, all of that, and the effects of it, hurricane and all of that. And once said hurricane would have, you know, entered Jamaica, the south coast of the country would have gotten hit the most. There's a lot of damage as well. A lot of places are without electricity, without water. There was deaths as well. Please forgive me for using certain terminologies, but yeah, there were lots of unfortunate things. There's still a lot of damage. There's going to be millions, billions that will have to be spent to recuperate from the damages. So I was safe. I was just without electricity for over a week, but other than that, everything is good on my end, and it's just about getting back and catching up on the things that I've missed, because there was a lot that would have went on in the space of a week, as relates to Chelsea, as relates to international competitions, football, and among other things. So yeah, but I'm back. Hopefully it will be better, and hopefully there will not be any interruptions as it relates to the plans for the channel, and the upcoming videos or streams or shows that will take place. But yeah, that is my short update, and hopefully for those persons who were concerned, and as I would have said before, I appreciate all those who reached out. A lot of persons reached out, a lot of persons were worried, and I understand. I disappeared to some extent without a reason. So I understand and I appreciate it. It made me realize that there's a lot of persons who care. Yeah, big up to you, coach. Big up. It's always a pleasure to see you in the chat, and that's no problem. You taking the time to comment, to come into the live chat is good enough. So I appreciate it, and I appreciate you are the benchmark, as Tuku would have said, the benchmark of this live stream and shows, these, well, I wouldn't say blue morning shows, but the morning shows for a few people, afternoon shows for others. So yeah, appreciate you find the time to come in. Yeah, big up, Meyer, big up. Yeah. So back over to you, Jerry.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. It was important. I felt it was very important, you know. It wouldn't make sense to start the show without asking you about how the how you experience this time, and you know, because the community is one and we all like to know. So now going back to football, going back to your question. So will Enzo Maresca's tactic approach at Chelsea? It's a question that would probably demand a yes or no. So I mean, it can work, but how long will it take, right? Everything can, I would say, if you work hard, if you do your, you know, everything is there. The variables are there, the investment is there, the players are there, right? So why not? Why not? Maybe some people would think I'm contradicting myself. No, will it work? Yes, it can work. Of course, it can work. But then you have to define work. Work itself is an unknown. How would you define work? What do you mean by work? Some people might say with work means getting a top four. For me, work is winning the Premier League or the Champions League. If we are talking about winning the Premier League or the Champions League, then I have my doubts, serious doubts. And he still can win the Premier League or the Champions League, but I think it will take a long, long, long time. So will Enzo Maresca tactic work at Chelsea? Yes, it can. They will have to be very professional, work very hard, and it can. I hope it does, but I have my doubts. That's all I can say for now.
Yes, yes, yes. For those persons who know you quite well, and big up to you, Dante, as well. Thank you for joining, and big up, big up. For the persons that would know you, persons in the community that we've developed even more and expanded, a lot of persons would know that you have your doubts, and I mean you've never shied away from expressing that you have doubts, and it's fair. It's fair enough. It's one where I'm sure a lot of fans can understand, as I would have alluded to earlier. It's a manager. He's a manager that's he's inexperienced as it relates to coaching at a professional level or on a soul level where he is the main man. Leicester City would have perhaps have been the first you know competitive opportunity that he would have gotten to coach a team from start to finish, and he was successful. They had statistics that would have made it good for his CV as well. They won the championship. They got relegated the season prior, and they came back up immediately. And it was impressive. There's factors and circumstances around it as well. I know lots of people will undermine what he would have done because they would say that the whole situation of them perhaps almost bottling winning the championship in the latter stages, injury scripting, and I would have to give him credit for trying to find solutions and finding a solutions to a situation where they would have lost players like Madison in the summer window last year, Tielemans and players like that leaving, and then having to sign players and perhaps to some extent not really replacing those players that were mainstay. They were important to Leicester City and the success that they would have had around 4 years ago, winning the FA Cup and all of that. So all of that situation, it's important to think about and to discuss. So yes, I can understand. And I don't think I've really made my opinion on Enzo Maresca clear. I don't think many people understand my view. And if I'm gonna be honest, because I like to be honest, I I have to say that I have my doubts as well. I am very concerned. I'm worried. I'm hoping that it will work because this will be what the fifth manager, sixth manager, interim and also permanent. So it's a case where we're having to be seeing to believe that this project can work. And it's not like with a Graham Potter who would have had around 3 or 4 years under his belt in the Premier League. Enzo Maresca was an assistant manager to Pep Guardiola. He would have been a development team coach at Manchester City. He would have had, you know, coaching opportunities in Italy as well. So there's aspects that you have to consider. But is it a case where, will it work? we've gone through Potter, the whole project, and the idea of getting in a manager for 5 years, and you build with him, and each year you try to improve. We went back on that. We got Pochettino in. It the season didn't end horrible, but it could have been better. And then we go back to the ideology of having a coach where we try to build with again. So it's not straightforward, it's not clear. So I do have my concerns. However, I have seen indications that he has the understanding that the job will not be easy. He understands that the fans will demand a lot. He understands, he's not oblivious to the fact that fans will be demanding a lot. It won't be a case of, okay, you are inexperienced, because I'm sure he's going to have thought about the fact that a lot of fans are going to be saying, oh, I'm inexperienced. I've not been in the coaching realm for so long. I haven't been a coach of a team that is competing for the major title trophies. So it's a case where you're trying to build on that, develop on that. And I do want us to move to one of the first items that are lined up here. So it goes into the discussion of what Enzo Maresca would have said in his interview. As I said, and as you may know, I would have missed the initial release of the interview, so I had to watch it yesterday to get an understanding of what his mindset and where his mind is. And I have to say, the interviewer, it was it looked to me at least that it was planned, that he knew some of the questions that would have been asked, because it didn't seem as spontaneous. It seemed as if it was planned, like they had arranged these questions in this order, because he looked as if he was anticipating those questions. And that isn't to say that he isn't articulate. I could never not say that. I can't say that. But the approach, the ideology, the questions that were asked, it seemed as if they were planned, especially the last question about what fans should expect. And him saying, trust the process, trust the idea, and all of that. But it's fascinating. It really is. And I have to say that I would be lying if I said I didn't like what he would have said in some aspects. It like, as I said, he understands that the process, of getting the fans to buy into the project, after, it's been what, almost 4 years now. It will be 4 years soon of trying to build on that. So we'll have to see what happens. But I want us to divulge into this first item that's right here as well. So I hope it's on the screen. I hope everybody can see. Let me know in the chat if you can see what's on the screen as well. So it's Vince Bluefooty. I know Coach loves to utilize this account in particular, and it says Enzo Maresca. One of the reasons I'm here is because I'm convinced that the squad is very good. As you said, full of talent. The most important thing now is that we are able to create the right culture and drive us for the season. So Jerry, I don't know what you think about this. You know, it, it it ties in well with what we would have heard from reporters when they were saying that he did his research, he watched videos, he watched clips, he watched matches of the season prior. And he made mention of that earlier down in the well, later down, sorry, in the interview, where he said that he knows the players, he was acquainted with them because he would have watched the matches, he would have watched clips, so he would have got an understanding of the individuals, and he made other mention of that. So what is your thoughts on this first quotation that is being shared here?
As much as I want to be positive, whenever I see something and then I don't know, I see different things, right? I take different things from it. So of course, the my 100%. In fact, I'm sure my support for Mariska will be more than anyone else. No one can prove me that they can. I'm challenging everyone. I'm sure the support and Tino behind the scenes will be more than everyone. Saying that he's not the right fit is one thing, but this no one can match my support for Enzo Maresca. I openly challenge that. We'll see that in the season. When people will criticize, I'll support. I've already said that this is not a right signing, and that is it. What he's saying over here, look, I mean, I don't want to blame the man again or anything. It's all on the sporting directors and the owners, but it's not making sense to me. Making sense to me in this way that he's saying one of the reasons I'm here is because I'm convinced that the squad is very good. Oh, if I put my analytical hat with exponential power exponential times, this is not making any sense because he's in a job that is much higher than his pedigree. So it is indicating that he took the job or he is happy to put his pen on paper because he thinks the project is good. I think it's an honor and huge privilege for him to be just part of Chelsea Football Club, right? And I think no one would disagree to that if they are honest. So it is indicating again or trying to put it there. I don't know if it's staged, as you said, which I feel it is. And nothing wrong. It's not an offensive statement or it's not showing anything that is ridiculous. But it's not making sense. How can a manager who is very new saying that he, in a way, that he is happy, and the reason why let me repeat so I'm not misquoting him. One of the reason, again, I'm here. One of the reason I'm here. One of the reason I'm here means it's me who also accepted this job, right? Is because I am convinced with Chelsea. Chelsea had to do the convincing of the project, of course, but is he at that stage of his career that he's telling the fans that the reason why he's here is that he's convinced that he's bigger than Chelsea, or he could have the opportunity to take on a Manchester United or Arsenal or any other club. So in that sense, I don't know. I honestly don't understand this. But yes, if you take this approach that what he said maybe 2 3 weeks ago, that he has watched the games, most of the games, he knows the players in and out. So yes, I mean that makes sense. That if he took his time to study, to watch the tapes, analyze. But to say that I'm here because the squad is good enough and I believe in this project, is just showing that it's I think the Chelsea board or the Chelsea Football Club to the fans through their PR is trying to put him in a spotlight or in a limelight that the fans would say, okay, he's a gaffer who also analyzed everything and took this job. So, but it doesn't make sense, as I said. To be very honest, if he got an opportunity, would you really expect that he would? For sure, he would ask questions. I'm not saying that he would close his eyes and take the job, but would he really? Do you think he really studied the profile of the player, the squad, and the project before signing on the dot? I don't think so. That's what I'm trying to say. What do you have to say on that?
What I have to say on that is it ties in well with what Dante has said here. Um, I know that when you talk about positivity as it relates to Enzo Maresca, you're not going to be you're not going to be getting that from Jerry. Jerry is obviously, and as I said before, it's fear to say that, you know, and as I said, and as you were saying before, you know, he would have. It seemed as if the questions that were asked, they were planned so that he would have an understanding of what would be asked, and you'd be able to prepare his responses. And I mean, what he says here about one of the reasons why he's there and why he agreed to be a part of the Chelsea family and to be a part of the club is because he believes that the squad is filled with a lot of talented players. And I mean, he's not wrong. We do have talent. We have untapped potential and talent in the squad. That is true. You can't understate that. But one thing that you have to also say, well, that is true, Dante. Dante is saying that all interviews are planned. That is true. But at the same time, the questions it made you understand him as a personality. You got an understanding of who he is. So yeah, but at the same time, I mean, I guess you have a point there, Dante, when you talk about these interviews are planned, because you can't spring certain questions on a manager and they don't know what to expect. It's not like a press conference where the journalists or reporters or persons will come in and ask questions and they'll have to respond on the spot. I understand that. But a lot of the questions, it's a case where you have to do PR, and we've seen that. We've seen the representation that Chelsea, the media aspect of the club, have been trying to do. They're trying to develop that sort of connection. Trying to get fans to buy into the idea. And as he would have said, trust the idea, trust the process. And as he would have said, and I really don't want to this to be just discussing his interview, but the interview is an important aspect of it, especially when he would have given or alluded to the of what you should expect. He said, trust the process, trust the idea. You're going to enjoy the journey. He's going to try to enjoy the journey. That they're going to try to enjoy the journey, but to know that it will not be easy. Which obviously, no journey is ever easy. That's just the case. That is the fact. No journey will ever be easy. No journey is going to be straightforward. There's going to be turns, there's going to be obstacles that you're going to have to endure. You're going to have to try to rise above those obstacles. And that's one of the most important things, especially in the world of football. You have to think about the fact that there's going to be challenges, and you're going to always have these obstacles in your way. But the most important thing is how you counteract those, how you try to endure and you push through those challenges. And I think, because it's obvious we're going to have those challenging moments in the coming season. There's going to be players that are have an understanding of each other. They would have had at least 1 year under their belt with each other, so you'll have that sort of chemistry, that connection. But you're going to have new players coming in that are going to have to also learn on the job, learn while playing in preseason, learning while they're playing the first Premier League match or whatever the case may be. And you're going to have those aspects where they're going to make mistakes, because it's a young squad, albeit we have some level of experience. There's some players are around 26, 25 in the squad as well, but a lot of the players that we have, especially rotational players, are 20, 21, 19 coming up. Those are the players that we have. So they're going to make mistakes. So it'll be important to see what Enzo Maresca does in that aspect as well. What will his solutions be to when players, for example, if Mark Buell will be playing, he's going to probably make mistakes. He's going to be adapting to the Premier League. It's completely different from the La Liga. It's completely different from the other leagues. So he's going to have to adjust. Tosin perhaps may have an understanding of the Premier League because he's played in it before, but at the same time, that doesn't guarantee that in a new system, leaving from Fulham to Chelsea, that you'll be able to translate those performances to the pitch for Chelsea. So it's important to discuss that as well. Mario is saying that he supports Maresca, and I don't think that Jerry, because I think one of the things is that I don't want people to believe that Jerry is not going to support the manager. I don't think that's going to be the case. He will support the manager, but he's just making it clear that one of the true and factual thing is that he's inexperienced. You can't twist that to say that he isn't. He is. He is inexperienced. And I mean that shouldn't be a bad thing. It shouldn't be something that equates to if a manager will be able to succeed, because you can use Jabi Alonso. Not everybody's going to be a Jabi Alonso. Not everybody's going to have a blow up season in their first full managerial aspect, starting from ground zero and going up. Not everybody's going to have that. But inexperienced managers, they tend to have to, learn on the job. And that's the situation. It's going to be like that for him. Because as Jerry would have alluded to before, it's become a case where this is a big step up from Leicester City, and that isn't to downplay Leicester City in terms of their capabilities, but from Championship to Premier League, it's completely different. The competition is very high in the Championship, so I'm not saying that it isn't, but the level of and the likelihood of certain teams competing consistently for the Premier League in comparison to the Championship, it's completely different. A lot of teams can contend for the championship, but not a lot can contend for the Premier League for whatever reason that may be. It could be squad depth, it could be quality, whatever the case may be. But one of the most important thing is that I believe, and I know for a fact that I'm going to support the manager. I've always been that type of fan to support the manager. He might not have been my first option, or my second, or my third, but he was the selected option. So you have to respect that. You have to back him, because at the end of the day, support is necessary. And managers will come and go, but the club will hopefully still be there after that. So, you know, we've gone through a lot of managers. We've gone through quite a few throughout the short period of the clearly capital consortium, Bowley clearly capital consortium, ownership. We've gone through some difficult moments, some frustrating moments. So it's just about thinking about what's going to come next. And Mara's asking a question. I think we can come back to that. So I'm going to start this, and we'll come back to answering that question. I want us to get through a few more of these items before we progress to the additional questions, because this topic, this show, it's not one where it's going to be focused on one thing. You have to dissect, you have to understand all the aspects, all the factors that are going to be there. So it's important that we discuss that as well. So the next item here is Enzo Maresca. I don't know why the picture isn't showing, but that's fine. Enzo Maresca, oh my bad. Enzo Maresca on winning mentality. So he's okay. Everything is kind of going backwards, but Enzo Maresca is talking about winning mentality. That is one of the things that he would have divulged in this.
Yes, maybe maybe I'll try to send you the link if there's some issue. Um, Enzo Maresca, Enzo Maresca. Yep. Maybe I'll try to share it on the screen here. Um, Sorry about this little delay. So, what do you guys think, honestly? Like, what is the expectation for next season? Let's be let's
Stuff.
measure it. Let
Back
me
up.
more.
No, that's
Let,
recall
then,
that.
then yeah. So let's give your expectation. Let's give your expectation for the next season. Okay, so here is it. I believe you guys can see. I hope you guys can see the tweet, the post. So it says Enzo Maresca on winning mentality. It's the main point because when you join a club like Chelsea, you have to know that it's a club that has to win. So far, so for us, we are going to try to do our best to be there, at least to fight and compete with the top clubs in this moment are winning and fighting for titles. It's great that he said that. And I'm pleased with this statement. Yes, I am, because he acknowledged that it is about winning. He understands the history, culture of the Chelsea Football Club. At least he said that. So at least he said the right things over here. And he said that to compete, we are going to fight, for titles. And the club like Chelsea, you have to know that it's a club that has to win. So what he's trying to say here is obvious that he knows that the pedigree of Chelsea Football Club is to win. It's a club of the highest pedigree, and the final objective is to win the Premier League and the Champions League and to be right up there, both in England and in Europe. So I have no doubts. I have no doubts that he will work hard. He will work 100. I mean, he will work as a professional. He will do everything possible to win. I have absolutely no doubt about that. I think, and it appears to me that he's a very dedicated professional. And yes, the way he conducted at Leicester, most of the times, of course, I don't know the entire. I mean, I have not seen the entire season. Only when he was announced, I bought some clips on Amazon, watched 5 games of Leicester, did my research. So yeah, he came across very professional. No doubt about that one. So yeah, a surprise to everyone. Like, I'm not criticizing. I don't criticize this for the sake of it. Why should I? Why should I say that he is not ambitious, or he is not professional, or he doesn't want to win? That will be ridiculous for me to say. My whole criticism is on the sporting directors and the owners, and I have repeated this 20 times. I don't know why I have to justify that. They have appointed a manager who is not ready, I would say. He will take time and he might be ready in a year or two. So why do we waste a year or two? If you understand me, why do we waste a year or two? Thank you, DJ. Thank you, DJ. DJ, big up, big up. Thank you for joining the stream on the beautiful evening, 12th July 2024. You can see the energy coming in my veins just as I see you backstage. So yeah, we are discussing Mariska and DJ. I'm getting a lot of I mean, there's a lot of backlash from certain fans that I'm, being negative and all that. As I'm sure you were hearing. I said it's on the sporting directors and the owners, nothing on Mariska. In fact, I was appreciating that. I have no doubt that he'll be a professional, work hard, do everything possible to win. So, sir, please go ahead and welcome to the show. Welcome to Chelsea Sessions. Ty is back. We are back.
Big up to you guys. Big up, Ty, man. Obviously, I heard what happened in your country, mate, with that hurricane. I'm glad to see you're okay, mate, and hope your family are keeping well as well, bruv. Big up to everyone in the comments as well. Yeah, listen, I've came in on just with the conversation I had, and I said it all along about Maresca. There are people out there that are saying that some Chelsea fans are being too, like, too, what's the word to say? Being too bold about Maresca. They think he's going to be the guy that's going to come in. Listen, I've said it all already. I've said it already. He might not be what we all wanted. He might not be the most established name out there that Chelsea Football Club are used to having and getting. However, what he is he has learnt his trade from the best, one of the best in the world in Pep Guardiola. He's learnt his ways. He's learnt the way and also what he's basically gone and done is, if you heard his little interview he did the other day, he said he learnt from the best managers in the world, and he mentioned managers like Carlo Ancelotti. He mentioned Lippi. I think he mentioned obviously Pep. There's so many other men. But what he's gone and actually says is that he's taken ideas of those times that he's had at them football, that he's learnt under them managers under his wing, that he had that had him under his wing, that he's taken ideas of theirs as well as his own ideas to establish his own football. And I think what fans have got to be, and I've said it all along, is we've got to be patient with this guy, give him his time. He's been given a 5-year contract. Okay, I've got no qualms about him being our manager, even though I had my reservations in the beginning. I just think he needs to be given the time. And I've seen a lot of rivals on different streams, especially the Liverpool fans. I won't mention any names in particular, that are laughing at Chelsea fans because we're so bigging up Maresca's training sessions. We're saying this and we're saying that. They keep saying that we're showing the same things as Poch showed when he first came to Chelsea. There's a lot of fans out there that are making their comments about him, and I look at that and I think to myself, those kind of fans, even though they act and say that they're not worried, they are the worried fans. They are seeing what's been going on at Chelsea. They're thinking that something special could happen. The only thing that we don't have, that people are saying we don't have, that could fall against, is obviously the experience in the team. And I've said this all along, that could be our only downfall. In that could hit us in the face, is that it's not going to be on Maresca. It could just be, are these players that we've got in the team experienced enough to take us where we want to go? Yes, we finished in the top 6 last season. Yes, this season the heights are going to be more higher, which means a lot of fans are going to want us to finish. See, my expectation of Chelsea this season is not to be challenging for the Premiership. I've already got that in my head already. It's not going to happen. What I want to see for Chelsea is us fighting for top 4, which is what I think this manager's next aim should be: fighting for top 4 and possibly winning a trophy, whether it's the Conference League, whether it's any of the domestic cups, but not actually winning the Premiership. I'm more realistic in that way, knowing that we're not going to win the Premiership title this season with Maresca, and that's not because he's a bad manager. Now, he may surprise us all, and he may pull our rabbit out of the hat, as they say, and he may take us to higher than what my expectations. But I'm being a realist, and I'm saying for myself, for my team especially, and the way things are with my team at this moment in time, and the players that we've got, they're starting to grow. They obviously have been together now. This group of players coming up to 2 years. Some of them have. We're going to see possibly next season the Caicedo, Fernandez, and Lavia partnership. But now Dewsbury Hall being thrown into the hat as well. Now we're going to see more of that next season to be established. And if these guys can stay fit, along with Reece James and others that we've missed from last season, I don't see why we can't at least go and challenge at least getting a top 4 finish and trying and win a domestic trophy or even the Conference League. That should be our aim as fans. But any fan coming on here saying we should be winning the Premiership title, forget it. That's not going to happen. Not this season. Not in the new season. So, as long as we finish in that position and we're playing the way Maresca wants us to play and his established way of coming across to these players and his philosophy way of playing, I don't see why we can't finish and challenge for a top four finish and winning a domestic trophy. That's just my take on it all. And I'm being a realist on it. I think you all know my love and passion for my club. I want my team to always be challenging up there, winning titles and so on. But we know under this regime currently at this moment in time, we can only go as far as saying with the players that we've got, that top 4 probably is the most that we can look at this season, and a domestic trophy. So my work has always been on the owners, and it will continue to come at the owners. It's not going to be on It's not going to be on Maresca. It's going to be on the owners, Winstanley and Stewart. These are the guys that I hold responsible for Chelsea's situation. And if we don't get what we want to get, I don't want fans coming at Maresca next season, because that's what they're going to do. Look at the bigger picture. That's all I want to tell the fans out there. Look at the bigger picture, at the guys who brought these players in to work with this manager. Okay. Are they his signings that he wants? You could probably fight and say Dewsbury Hall maybe his because he worked with him at Leicester. But then you look at the other players that we've brought in. Obviously the talents that we brought in Willian and Pires, which are not going to be available to next season. I've actually got high hopes about those kids. Okay. But it's the other signings that we've gone and made. Are they Maresca signings? From listening to what he's saying, he wants to apparently now he wants to narrow his squad down to 25 players. So he wants to get rid of a few. All right. So, we've got to ask the question, what exactly, are we going to give this guy? Because for me, I still think we're missing in positions. I think we need a better goalkeeper than what we've got in terms of Sanchez. Because Petrovic I rate, but I don't think he's a number 1. I think we need to bring another goalkeeper to come and challenge both those two. I think we need another striker for sure. For me, I know people are saying about Nkuku maybe coming in and could be the answer. We can't rely on just Cole Palmer next season to bang us in the goals. The kid is still young. Okay, and as much as he's established himself now, he can't do the job himself, so he needs help around him. All right, obviously you had Madueke throwing in goals as well. You've had obviously Jackson doing his bit as well, but we need someone who's going to come in and put the ball in the back of the net on a regular basis. And I don't think any of our strikers currently at this moment in time, as much as I rate Jackson, I don't think he's a proper number 9. I don't think he's going to bang us in the goals as we like. We need to get an established striker. This is what these owners set out to tell us in the beginning of the season. They told us we're going to get a number 1 striker in and we're going to get a number 1 goalkeeper in. I've not seen that yet. So for myself, I've got to see that more. And this is why I keep saying about ambition. What are these owners' ambition? And, for me at this moment in time, if you want to go and get Chelsea to where you want us to, if you want us to go higher than the 4th place position and you want us to go and challenge higher, then you need to bring in an established number 9. You need to bring in an established goalkeeper. And I think that's what we're missing to take us where we need to go. I think the rest of the squad will all fall into place, but we do need those 2 vital positions filled in. That's just my take on it, guys. But nothing against Maresca. I think he'll come and do a good job. I just don't want the fans to switch on him like they always do when things don't go right. Look at the bigger picture, I say to the fans out there. Look at the owners and what they're bringing to this football club before you guys go around taking it out on Maresca.
Yeah, I completely agree. Very well said. Very well explained. All the key points, the variables. Of course, we don't have to. I think DJ, we don't have to all the time keep telling some of the people that we love Chelsea. We are proper Chelsea. We support. It's obvious, right? I think you, especially you, right, is an example of what proper Chelsea is. And so we don't have to. If we criticize, it's because we care. We see things and call it. So it's absurd that people are thinking that we want him to fail. I get so many DMs, you want him to fail. I said, how can you even think so, right? So it hurts at the same time, but this is how it is. People just try to pick on you, on on what you say. If you're all positive or lovely dovely, then everything is fine. The minute you criticize something, then it's taken out of context. So I'm also experiencing this firsthand in this social media life. So I'm disappointed. Many people ask me or question my love for Chelsea. So it hurts, to be very honest. And these are the same people, when the season will start. I've said that I will never say anything to Mariska. I promise you, I give you my word live on the stream. This is me. This is me, right? This is me. And you know me. I'm still new. Like, I joined in what, August, in this community. So, but you see the entire season under Pochettino, how positive I was. People were calling me toxic positive, uh, DJ toxic positive. And now, because I'm criticizing, in my opinion, it's not the best appointment, or it doesn't make a lot of footballing sense, then all of a sudden you see, like, the fans are having a different opinion on me. And I'm the same person who was toxic positive for saying that Poch is magic, it will work. So we don't have to explain. I think we don't have to keep explaining. We know who we are. Criticism is part of the work we are doing. We are not just here as Chelsea fans, we are here as analysts as well, right? So we are trying to analyze. And uh, and Garvin, you will sorry, DJ, I apologize. And DJ, you will see that so many people that are raising these questions will turn on him if the results will not go. And at that time, you will see, I'm sure you and I and all and so many people in this community will say, look, what do you expect? Because look, we have analyzed, put our understanding and the expectations. Why will I criticize if the results won't be wrong? Why will I even say anything to him? Because my expectation is that it will take time. Being a realistic and rational person, so if I'm being realistic, then chances are that I will be more patient, if that makes any sense. So I'm okay for the entire season to be another rebuild. So my support will be there. So people who are closing their eyes and thinking, as you say, some of them, that we can win the Premier League or top four should be a walk in the park, those people would turn. So, or Mariska out and all that thing. So it's crazy. So DJ, let's move ahead. So Enzo Maresca's quotation, the tie is, of course, we are discussing Enzo Maresca and his tactics. We'll come to that. So he says, for me, it's clear we need to create as soon as possible the right mentality and culture, a culture that the fans can be proud of. We are going to try to be an aggressive team on the ball and off the ball. And we need to create the connection between the fans and the club, especially at home. So please go ahead.
Who are you waiting on? Ty? Is it Ty there still?
No, no, Ty is at backstage, so
Oh,
I'm
oh,
asking
okay. You're
you.
talking to me. Sorry, but sorry. No, listen. 100% agreed. I think that is the one thing I believe in terms of in any time any time you need your fan base. I always say is your home matches, because that's where we are. That is our home. That is our that is our ground. That is where we have to win and establish ourselves more than anything else. And I think, like, what he's asking for and what he's saying is spot on. We need fans need to back and support it all. When this word process is being used, I really get tired of hearing this word process, because it more or less is whenever it's okay for other. What gets me to me is when other fan base here, Chelsea fans, using the word process, right? We get laughed at. Yet when process can go with other football clubs, it's okay. It's established. It's good. We're going through a process at the moment. Da, 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 da. But the fact that Chelsea have spent £1 billion, and we're calling it a process, is what the other fan bases are laughing at us for. For that reason, are the mockeries that we're getting. And I think, for me, when you're playing at home, and you're trying to establish yourselves, they always say charity begins at home. And for me, look, we need to go when we're at Stamford Bridge. Fans are all there. Anyone's that go out there, and I'm talking about all the other Chelsea reels out there that coming to Stamford Bridge and watching the games. When you're there supporting your club, like I will be doing, and others from homes as well. I'll be at the ground supporting my club. Shouting as I always do every time I go to Stamford Bridge to play them, regardless whoever the manager might be and whatever's going on. I will still always be established. Always establish myself to support my club till the very end. And I always say to fans out there, yeah, you must support the club, support the players, especially in home matches when you're needed the most. because the away matches are bonuses. You can win away. You win away. They're extra points on the books, on the board, as they say. And you can start that kind of thing. Then then everyone likes it, and that kind of culture is built amongst the fans. The fans have then got the trustworthy of the players, the trustworthy of the coach, thinking, yeah, something is actually working here. But there'll be times in games, and with any team, there'll be times in matches when we will struggle. There'll be times we might not always win matches. We might fail. We might end up getting beaten. One day we might end up taking a heavy beating. It's how the fans react after that. Because sometimes you get reactionary from the fans. Oh, get the manager out, sack him, get rid of him. He's not good enough. He's done this and he's done that. No, it's not that at all. Sometimes the players have to take the blame for that, because he can only put on the pitch what he thinks is his good team. If the players are not establishing themselves on that pitch, then you have to obviously take it out on the players and say, okay, look, these are the players players that you give them the criticism that they deserve. I wouldn't say tell the players to leave, because that's not the answer either. You back them and support them regardless, okay, of that situation. So I'm sure going forward next season, you will see a lot of the fans, as I know when I go to matches, I always hear them always backing the team, supporting the club. And I know even being at home amongst yourselves, like yourself, Josie, and others that don't get a chance to go and watch them live play, I can imagine you behind the scenes watching from your TV screens, shouting in the house down, come on Chelsea, whatever, back them. But I also know that we can also be criticised. We can also criticise, I should say, our players when they're not doing what they should be doing. And then you take it out sometimes on the manager, because you think he's the one that should be changing things. If it gets to stages where you think, okay, we're in matches where you feel the manager should actually be starting to get up and start doing his substitutions early or doing things early, then yeah, by all means, and he's not doing it, then by all means, come out. You have a right to criticize the manager. I'm not debating that. I would do the same thing. Okay, but it's not always on the manager. Sometimes most of the time it's the players that are not performing to the levels that we know and we expect as Chelsea Football Club, as players that should be playing for this club. They should know what it's like to put their heart on the sleeve, wear that badge, go out there and put everything out there on the line, regardless of what competition you're in. So I believe he's right in saying you need to have that kind of culture, and I believe the fans are. But I also, and there are some fans out there that are very much turn on the manager if things don't go as they should be going. But it's not, like I said though, as I keep saying, I use that terminology again. Look at the big picture. This is not blaming the owners on this one. Look at the picture of the match that you're watching and see where it's all going wrong, because in that kind of way you can't blame the owners then. Okay, then, because they're the ones that have given them. Obviously, they're not playing the game. So in that kind of way, I'd say yes, I'd hold my thought. I'm not criticizing the owners, but sometimes players need to be held responsibility as well. And I think sometimes we don't do that enough. We very much turn on the manager, and the players just get left scot-free, which can't always be the case.
Yeah, well said. So thank you, Information Supreme. Information Supreme in the house. Please subscribe to Chelsea Sessions. Thank you so much. So Information Supreme has a very interesting comment and a question. He says, the ambition set by the owners is totally money motivated. How do we trust the process? How do we trust the process when the process is not focused on being successful on the pitch? Very interesting point. DJ, would you like to answer?
That's a very good question. A very good point. Who's saying it to? Information Supreme. Big up to that. That's a very good comment. Yeah, listen, he's spot on. I mean, look, I think we keep saying this again, and it goes back to the owners. And I'm sorry, fans out there that don't like me criticizing the owners, and I know there's a lot of them out there, and I do share the platform with them sometimes as well that don't like me coming onto these owners, and I'll carry on doing it until I see some ambition. The players that they're bringing into the football club, as I said to you before, we need experienced players to help this squad. Now they've brought in two players in Dewsbury Hall and the defender we bought from Fulham, or Adebayo. I keep forgetting his name, who are almost over 25. Obviously 25 plus. Okay, so they're coming as experienced players. If a lot of fans think they're the only two players that we need in this team for experience, okay, and these owners are bringing the right ones in, well, it's not, because you need experience all around the team. And when they want us to trust the process, as the owners like to say, that old word of trusting the process, then show your ambition, go out there and get us the players that you know are gonna help the manager and help this team we've got already, that are established players out there that will come and make a difference in your team. Okay, now they won't do this because their wage structure is only 150,000 a week, which is all they can put somebody on. Okay, if they're bringing a top name player. Now we know, you look at the big names out there. There's no way Victor Osimhen is coming to Chelsea as a striker on 150k a week. Gyökeres from Sporting Lisbon is not going to come to Chelsea on 150k a week. These are the top-notch strikers I'm talking about that should be coming and being looked at Chelsea to come in to change the way to change things in the game, to make that difference in the team. Yeah, these guys are not going to come in on that kind of money. So sometimes the owners have got to look at it and say to themselves, we need to go a little bit more up. You know, this whole thing with Elise, we've been, I'll be honest with you, Jersey, right? We have been laughed and mocked at by a lot of fan bases out there on the way this whole deal for Elise never happened. Okay, we went to Palace last season. They turned us down. They made him sign a new contract. Chelsea have obviously been caught in a player since then, trying to get him getting over for the deal. Finally, a deal was all but wrapped up for this guy this season, done by Joe Shields, by the way. Okay, who got this deal all but wrapped up, but the money was the issue before why he couldn't sign. Now a lot of people are saying, "Oh, he didn't come to Chelsea because we have no Champions League football." Okay, fair enough. That might play a point. That may have played a little point into it. Yes, we don't have Champions League football. However, Elise was ready to swap Palace for Chelsea, and the only club he would have joined, even though we had no Champions League football, he wanted to come to Chelsea, right? And it never happened. So in the end, because the wage structure was the one, and Joe Shields ended up getting this deal all but wrapped up, okay? And in the end, he ended up going to Bayern Munich. And that's because the owners decided last minute, we're not going to pay you 220k a week because of the other plays. You know, Cole Palmer was mentioning it because he's been doing better than Cole Palmer done better. He's going to come and look at that and think, oh, why are you paying this guy 220,000? Well, not me. Cole Palmer would have got his money anyway. I do believe Cole Palmer's contract negotiations for a new contract and putting his money up is already all but talked about the club, and I think his money is going to go up. I do believe it's when he comes back after international duty, he will sign that new contract on new money, right? So he'll get the money that he wants. So that would have not been an issue. You know, I think that would get that will get done. But we need to look at players that are going to come in, okay, and establish themselves. You know, players like of an Elise, and I mentioned Victor Osimhen in particular, and another striker I said, Gyökeres from Lisbon. These are the kind of strikers you need to come in to help you in certain games. Because as much as Nkunku, Jackson, Palmer, and all these guys can come in and do a job for us, there are times when they can't always do it. You need someone that's going to come in and know they're going to hit the ball in the back of the net. That's why that's why we established ourselves looking at players such as Jonathan Davids now. We're looking at Adeyemi. You know, all these kind of players that are on less money, on less than 100,000 a week at their previous clubs, at their clubs that they're at the moment. And they think they fit the right criteria to these owners to bring them in. But are they good enough for Chelsea? I don't think they are, because we've already got Mudryk, who all the fans seem to be turning on at the moment because he's not done it in a Chelsea shirt at this moment in time. So all the fans want this guy out. Well, not all fans, but some fans, which I completely disagree with. All right. Yes, he's not established himself as Chelsea is yet, but I think there's a player in Mudryk. I do believe there's a player in him. He just needs the right coaching, a shoulder to get him through in matches when things go wrong for him. You need a manager who's going to put your arm around him and say, look, don't worry about it. You know, you establish yourself. He needs that kind of management around him, right? And I think some fans don't want to give him that kind of thing. So by bringing someone like an Adeyemi in, who they think is going to replace Mudryk possibly, not Sterling, because let's be real here. Sterling's a good player. He's on 350k a week. He ain't leaving Chelsea anytime soon. Right, so he's going to go nowhere. All right. So then, so Mudryk is going to be the one that's going to end up, whose place is going to be the one that's going to be at risk. I don't believe Adeyemi is needed, or another winger, in fact, is needed. We need another striker. So go and get us the best. If you want to take all that money out of getting rid of Lukaku, getting rid of all these other players that are on big money, then surely we can go and bring in an established striker on the money. I'm not saying to what Lukaku was getting paid, but a little bit go up, a little bit more than 150,000, possibly 220, 200, maybe something like that could bring a Victor Osimhen to Chelsea, or a Gyökeres from Lisbon to Chelsea. You know, if we could get those kind of guys in, all it is just upping your wages. And that's what people are meaning when a guy said in his comments about trust the process. You need to trust the process if you've got the right players in the right place to get you the goals that you need and to get you where you want to go. And at this moment in time, I don't think these owners have invested in a proper number 9 at Chelsea, which is what we all know as fans. We all know we're lacking at the moment, along with, I think, a goalkeeper as well, a number 1 goalkeeper. I said it, Diogo Costa. Go and get me Diogo Costa as a goalkeeper to come in and establish himself, to come and challenge these two. You don't have to even challenge them because he comes in as number 1. Simple as that. But they won't do it. So when the guy asks about process, I 100% agree. How can you trust the process if these guys are not given the tools, or the right tools, to the manager to go and make it work on the pitch?
Amazing, the way you explain it's self-evident that there are loopholes, that the work that has been done so far lacks, ambition, like a structure and a philosophy or an approach that shows that the direction is going towards success, or the on-pitch success is the most important factor, or the most important variable for the ownership. It doesn't look that way. It's not a blind criticism. There are patterns. 2 years we have seen, right? This is the third year. They talk about trusting the process, right? The process was with Graham Potter, a 5-year project. Then he was appointed in September of 2022, correct? And in 6 7 months he was dismissed. Then came Pochettino, that he works with the youth. He is a great coach with the youth, and even they mentioned in the first they mentioned on their social media, yeah, on Chelsea Football Club website, that he's a world class manager, and that all of that, and they're so happy, and he's going to be the man. I mean, I'm paraphrasing. So they mentioned world class manager Pochettino, and their analysis. Of course, I'm paraphrasing. I cannot remember the word. So and how they conducted the interviews and research. They are content. They are very sure and confident on Pochettino, right? So this is what they are trying to tell us. This is the communication to the fan base. Okay, a lot of fans were not warmed up to Poch for obvious reason, being an ex Tottenham manager. But when he eventually literally turned it around, I'm not just talking about 5 games, and I'm not going there and giving my support to Pochettino. I'm just giving my commentary on and the analysis. That's it. So people say the last 5 games were good and the rest was not good. I disagree. Because of course then the numbers talks, right? People hate the numbers talk. From Christmas or Boxing Day, whatever, till the end of the season, we were top 4. I know the season is 12 months, but the thing is, if they say what I'm trying to say, talking about the owners, trust the process, be patient. When Pochettino was in top 4 for the last 5 months, no matter the football was maybe not so good on the eye, or there was some bad results, fine, but he was top 4. Someone said top 3, he had more points. I have to check. Someone said yesterday that we accumulated more points than Liverpool. We were only behind City, Arsenal from December to May. I'm not sure, but at least what I know, we were top 4. Top 3, I don't know. And then in the last 5 games, we not only we won in style. We played one of the best football in the entire. I mean, among the entire Premier League teams, we were standout in the end of the season. And then you got rid of Pochettino. So where is this process going, right? Where is the process? If from 12th to 6th is a jump, I would say, is a decent jump. Decent, because I don't want to lower my standard. It's a decent jump. From December to May, he sustained. And why I disagree that it's not only the last 5 games, also referring to the start, maintaining top 4. We lost to Sheffield, right? We lost to Sheffield at home. We lost to Burnley. And these 2 games, because we lost to the team who were relegated eventually, so it didn't sit well with the Chelsea fans, rightly so. But these were the only 2 games, and the Wolf game and Liverpool game that we lost. Uh, in the 18-19 Premier League game, we lost 4 games. We won most of the games and drew games. So it wasn't bad. But because we lost 4-1 at Anfield, I remember 31st January, and then 4th February or something like that, 5th February, I don't know, we lost to Wolves 4-2 at home. These 2 games really hurt Pochettino. And then he picked momentum, but in between there were games like Sheffield United. But then in the last, not only in the last 5 games he was good. I mean, Pochettino, yeah, in the last 5 games it was like proper Chelsea. We could see Chelsea, a winning Chelsea team, right?
Yeah,
But don't forget, in the earlier part of the season, in October, when we completely played Arsenal out of the park, and up till the 76th minute, it was a complete dominance on Arsenal until Robert Sanchez passed it to, or gifted it to, Declan Rice,
yeah,
and they eventually came back 2-2. Don't forget the 4-4 at Stamford Bridge, when most of the Chelsea fan base, I can say, including DJ. I remember coming DJ in the Chelsea perspective chat, and he was singing praise for Poch. And I asked him, I remember very well, this is proper Chelsea, right? I asked him,
yeah,
how is the situation? Are people warming up to Poch? And you said that they will eventually. Things are moving in the right
yeah.
direction. There was positivity, but
Yes,
there was no consistency. Don't forget the opening day, 1-1 against Liverpool. Second half, we dominated Liverpool. Liverpool, and we had 65% possession. I know possession doesn't mean or doesn't equate to result or success, but no team up to this date, in the what, 6 7 years, what club spent, 9 years, I don't know, 9 years, I'm saying 6 7 6 8 years, 8.5 8.5 years that he spent at Liverpool. This is a record for an opposition team to have 60% against Liverpool. And don't forget both games against Villa in the FA Cup, and also the game we should have won when the Sassis game was not given, when
yeah,
we could have won 3-2. Don't forget the games against Fulham. Don't forget the game against Burnley and other teams, of course. Tottenham Hotspur, right? When people were like, there is no chance that Tottenham can do anything. Yes, it was 2-0, but technically it was 8-0, how dominant we were. So
yeah,
the point is, then why did you get rid of Pochettino? I'm just asking the owners, the sporting directors, what is the process? Just because he was mouthy, he was saying that enough is enough, or he was, for the last month or 6 week, he was showing his frustration on asking questions that the owners should also be right. He said
yeah,
the owners and the sporting directors should also be reviewed. uh, I have questions. Then these questions come, DJ. It's not that I
yeah,
just sit here and all of a sudden say, oh, the Enzo Maresca Burnman is not good. I go and look at the patterns people don't understand. Look at
yeah,
it like a crazy person and look at so many things. Analyze and
yeah,
analyze like a nerd, right? And
yeah.
and then I'm left with nothing than
It's
to
true.
question that
Yeah,
it's not making sense. It's not.
yeah.
What do you have to say on that, DJ?
No, no. Listen, you're 100% spot on, Jersey. And I think for myself, listen, I never, I never warmed to Poch, and I think in the very beginning, I think everyone knew this when I went on podcasts. Kuchilla will tell you, a lot of people in the chat that I chatted to in the chat that are there. Dante, I see in there, big up Tim and others in there would know that I was never one of Poch, Bobby as well. All these guys would know. I never warmed up to Poch, and the reason I never warmed up to Poch was because of his Tottenham connections for one. Secondly, I just felt, what has he really done in the game to say, yes, you're worthy of a Chelsea manager's position or a coach, to say to me that, yeah, you should be the right guy to take this club forward. Because every time I kept thinking about Poch, I kept on going back to Rafa Benitez vibes when we took on a Liverpool manager that all the Chelsea fans couldn't stand. Okay, when he came to us after Di Matteo was sacked, and he came in as our as a manager. But what he did do is to shut a lot of Chelsea fans up. He went and won the Europa Cup. Okay, and not many fans still liked him anyway. So at least he proved himself, because he did prove himself to be a winner at Liverpool. And then you could see, okay, fans will not like Rafa, and listen, I probably would say I never liked Rafa more than I didn't like Poch, and that's because of the way only because of his whole aura, his whole aura he had when he had his little thing with Jose Mourinho, his spat with Jose. And Jose was always like, him and Jose, everyone would know Jose Mourinho and Rafa Benitez spats. They were similar to Arsene Wenger once. Not great. They were always at each other's throats on something or another, or saying something. And I never agreed to Rafa coming to Chelsea, and not one Chelsea fan I think can sit on this in here, sitting in the comment section, say, yeah, we want a Rafa. What he did come to Chelsea for in his time that he did come is he won as a trophy. And that shut all the Chelsea fans up before he went off drove off in the wilderness and went off. Yeah. And that's what he had the last laugh, if you like, on the Chelsea fans. But still, I never took to him despite all that. The same with, I guess you could say, with Poch. The difference with Poch is he never won anything with Chelsea. He got us to a sixth position. Now, let's be real here. Any manager that, the managers that we had previously, I mean, we obviously stacked a winning manager in Thomas Tuchel, who got us to where we needed to get. But obviously things started going wrong for him before they brought in Graham Potter, a completely big mistake that was, even though he was a good manager for Brighton, but not at Chelsea level. Okay, all right. He come in, and we all know how that ended. So people are thinking, okay, what do we do now? Lampard comes in to steady the ship, get the fans back on side. Like these owners were trying to do. Lampard comes in, Chelsea fans will be happy. He comes back on side. He then goes, and then we bring in Pochettino as our next manager. Look, it's you can call it a mistake all you like, what these owners have done since they've come into Chelsea, but I would still say Poch, in his last games that he had at Chelsea, he still managed to get us into a 6th place position, which is probably, for the team that we've got at this moment in time, I probably would say, and the injuries that we had last season, I probably would say is just about right. He got us where we needed to get. We got us back into a European position, even though it's not the European competition we all wanted, but he got us there. Okay. And all he was basically saying to the owners was, look, I've got you back into European position. It might not be the Champions League or the Europa Cup, but if you want us to go to that next level now, bring me some established players in, and get rid of some of the deadwood at Chelsea that are not really needed around the football club. That's all he asked for. But because these owners have gone and invested 7-year contracts on some of these players, okay, not in them particular, but the other players out there as well that went out on loan, because he said to them, look, we can't do that. These guys are here for a long, long stay. They can't be. You've got to work with what you've got. Okay, we'll go and get you what you want. We'll go and get you that. We'll go and get other players in, but they were not the kind of players that Poch thought would take us to the next levels. And I think Poch wanted, like we're all saying now, Jersey, is that he wanted an established number 9 at Chelsea. I think he believed, even though he would have believed in Nkunku to take us this season forward, and you had Jackson there, but he always probably felt there was something else was missing. And you can't just rely on Cole Palmer to get you the goals week in, week out, day in, day out. That's not his position, Cole Palmer, to get us goals. The guy is mainly to set up goals. If he scores goals, it's a bonus for the kid. And he proved that last season, what a player and what a talent he is. He's now proving it in Europe as well for England, what a talent he is. Next season, I can see if it goes slightly wrong for Cole Palmer next season, and he's not established the way he's done it. I really hope to God the fan base don't turn on him, because that'll be the biggest mistake we make. The kid done as well last season. He's had a completely, like most players, have had a drooling season. He's gone and played for England in the Euros as well, and he's then going to come back to England, probably not even having a break to himself, but back to training again. Or maybe a 1 week break he might have, and then come back to Chelsea back again. If he doesn't prove himself again and score the goals as he was doing last season, I just told the Chelsea fans out there, don't turn on the kid. Just remember what he done. Yeah? Okay? You can't rely on him to be your goal scorer going forward for next season. And this is what I think Poch wanted. He was basically trying to tell these owners, look, we can't just rely on Cole Palmer to score us goals. We're still not sure how fit Nkunku's going to be when he comes back. Is he going to be on fire straight away? Is he going to bang us the goals in? Is Jackson going to have the kind of season he had, which was, let's be real here, for him, he broke Didier Drogba's record in his first season at Chelsea. Didier Drogba didn't even reach those goals that he did. But there's no way he's a Didier Drogba. So he's not a Drogba. We all know this as Chelsea fans. He's not a Drogba. Okay, and he'll always be compared to that, unfortunately for him, because Drogba was a big name that was banging in the goals for us before he obviously left Chelsea. And this is always going to be looked at every time we get these players in. We need someone like a Didier Drogba, like a Diego Costa that came in after him to get us the goals that we need. And this is what I think Poch was asking these owners for. But these owners would not agree on it, and they would not give him what he wanted. So he must have, and people are saying he threw his toys out of the pram. He didn't, because he must have been promised by these owners at the time, look, get us into a position where we need to. And the next season we go again. We'll give you the players that you feel might need you to take you where you want us to go. And they didn't do that. So for them, finishing 6th probably was a bad thing, but it was still a European position. Now people will say, "Oh, you can't maybe get Victor Osimhen because you're going to be playing the Europa League next season, Europa Conference League next season. Why would you want to come there?" However, the guy's already made it perfectly clear that he wants to come to Chelsea. Either way, he was making those assumptions, all those notifications he was saying beforehand. But we never proceeded it in the end, because in the end, owners decided, no, too much money, can't do the job, forget it, we're not going to bring him, and he's going to be too much money for us. So look, again, this is what I keep saying. If Maresca's going to ask for a particular player, then they're more or less going to set up this manager for failure. Yeah, and this is why I keep saying to the fans again, don't turn on Maresca. For all we know behind the scenes, he's probably asking for some certain plays that he wants, not getting them. And like Money Richmakers is saying in the comments, when you got Winstanley and Stewart there, more or less dealing with all the transfer business, then I'm sorry, they're just going to go for young and established up and coming players, what we've been doing all season, and we're going to continue with that trade. Is it going to be enough to get Chelsea where we want to get next season? I hope so, because I still think the players that we've got in Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo, these players are for the future, along with Gusto and all these kind of guys who are going to establish themselves for years to come. But at some point in these players' careers, if Chelsea don't reach a Champions League don't reach a Champions League, or don't challenge for top four, challenge for the title, these players are going to start looking at their futures and say, am I at the right club? Do I really want to be here? I want to go to a club that's going to start establishing and winning trophies. They want to win trophies in their career. Even though Enzo is a World Cup winner, yeah, he might want to win other things. He might want to win titles, Champions League. Same with Kai. All these players at some point, even Cole Palmer, I have to throw that one in there. At some point, it's going to be asking those questions. So we got to make sure that these owners, and I keep saying this is why it's so important that these owners back this manager and give him what he wants if they want us to go to other levels. And I think because Poch didn't get that, they got rid of him. If he comes to ask the same questions, he's probably worried they're going to get rid of him as well. So either way, these managers are more or less set up to a losing battle already, because we already know what these owners are going to do. I hope they change their ways. And this is why I keep saying it all the time. I hope they change their ways. But at this moment in time, I don't see it. And all I can hope for now, as I've said it all along to you, Jerry Z, is I'll back the manager. I'm going to back the players that we've got. And I'm going to back the crest, which is the badge of Chelsea Football Club. That's the club I love. That's my club. I'm going to back them all the way in that kind of like way. But I will never, at this moment in time, I don't support these owners. And I'm sorry people don't like me for saying that, but I don't at this moment in time.
100%, I concur. Enrich Moneymakers, thanks for correcting me. I said we lost to Sheffield United. No, we drew. But it really feels like a loss, right? That game that we gave away the lead and we threw away the lead. It was a very, very disastrous game. So I always say we lost to Sheffield United because it really feels like a loss. So moving ahead, Enzo Maresca's message to the fans. As much as we try to be positive, then something comes that doesn't help. And I don't understand why. I'm sure, of course, it's based on assumption because we were not there. But what is said here, right, before I read, I'm sure, like, this is my feeling, my understanding, that this was probably Enzo was told to say that. I don't think so that he'll say it himself. Even if he did, either way, it's not good, because I'm sure that the Chelsea board, they know that the Chelsea fans don't like this, don't like to hear this. Enzo Maresca message to the fans: just trust the process, trust the idea, be behind the team. For sure, we are going to enjoy the journey. Anything to add?
Nah, it's just what I expect from a manager who's more or less coming into the job and to be happy working for a big club like Chelsea. So the guy has to say what's been given to him. It's the PR, isn't it? It's the PR that he has to say, but he's probably thinking to himself, he's probably, but listen, let's be real here. This guy's probably coming. He's got better players, I think, he's working with than he had at Leicester. So in that kind of like way, he's got the advantage point there. When you're looking up and you're training these players, you're looking at the players you're training. Enzo, you're training Enzo Fernandez. You're training Moises Caicedo and Christopher Nkunku. You're looking at obviously Reece James. Ben Chilwell. You're looking at all these big name players that you're now training at. Probably you look at Leicester's. You're looking at Leicester's ones that they had, and you're thinking to yourself, yeah, I've got a better squad here. So in that kind of way, yes, he's obviously comfortable. He's working for a big club with better players. However, I will say one thing though, he's probably also looking and thinking, you know what, there are a few things that I need to really address on, but he's too wide to go and say it. And and like the other day, on one of your streams, I can't remember who said it. A lot of people were saying that I'm going on the sides of what Johnny Minerals is saying and people like that. Let me just tell people right now, I don't listen to what other people say. I got my own views and my own opinions on my own football club. It's just how it happens that other people out there happen to be saying the same stuff as what I'm saying or going along with other things. And big up to Johnny Minerals for saying what he says, and people give him stick for it. I don't listen to everything he always says, Johnny Minerals, but a lot of the stuff he does say, And big up to him, as I said, he points out a lot of facts to people, and people don't want to hear the truths. Okay, and I'm not one for just listening to him. I'm not one of those Johnny Mineral followers. I'm savvy. I'm DJ Sav. I follow my own ways of doing things. I watch my football. I've been a fan of my football club since the 80s. I've seen my club get relegated. I've seen my club come back up. I've seen the struggles behind the scenes of Ken Bates and Matthew Harding. I've seen this all happen with Chelsea, right? Going back to being a fan since the 80s. I'm like Bobby and like another old school guy, Max Burton Ballers. Everyone knows about him. Big up to him. We're all old school Chelsea, so we know how it all comes from that way of knowing of how Chelsea was back then and how it is now. So it's not just about, oh, I'm just one of those kind of guys. Oh, you're a Roman Abramovich guy who came and you started supporting the club. No. I've been a fan of Chelsea Football Club and a season ticket holder for many, many years at the club. Started supporting them in the 80s. Started following them in matches since the 90s. Right, so I've followed my club for a long time. Okay, I can go back to names that I probably won't even remember from back in the days. Okay, of Chelsea Football Club. All right, but I go back as far as John Hollins being our manager and a player, Kerry Dixon a striker, Gordon Jury. I can go back to all these players: Kevin Wilson, Kevin McAllister, Pat Nevin. These are all players I grew up watching as a Chelsea fan. So it's not that I'm following what other people say. I follow my own take on my football club, okay, and I'm following what I'm seeing. I only see what I see, okay. And at this moment in time, I'm looking at these owners that have come in, and I'm saying to myself, yes, they might be ambitious and everything. They might come in and bought a great entity as Chelsea Football Club, but I feel that they're at this moment in time. Maybe it's 2 years, maybe give them time, which I'm trying to do. But I'm also watching what they're doing at this moment in time. Is I want to see some ambition. I want to see them take us back to the top, where we belong. Okay, and challenging with the other clubs, not being a laughing stock of a football club as we are at this moment in time. And that's the only reason why I'm saying what I feel. And if people don't like my comments, you don't like my views, I apologize for that. I'm a proper Chelsea. Everyone knows that. I love my club to bits. I have a passion for my club. Okay, and I want to see what's best for them. So I just want to put that one out there, Jerry Z, that that I'm not here to moan and moan. I just look at what's going on with my football club and the passion I have for them. So I just want to see us back to where we belong, and I just want to see this manager backed and supported with the players that he loves and players that he wants to bring in to take us to the next level that we want to be at. That's all on that one. So I hope no
Absolutely.
one.
No, DJ, I don't. I mean, of course, I agree. I don't feel good that a guy like you, a proper Chelsea, right up there, if we have to make a top 10 list, has to always explain, to the audience that you don't need to do that, brother. It does. I mean, I don't feel good about that. People should know better, right? Whatever you say is from your heart. You don't say based on any agenda narrative or you follow anyone. In fact, people follow you because you're the standard, right? And I mean, it's sad that we have to explain every time, right? That okay, we don't mean anything bad. We support the club. We support the club. We don't have to. And I'm saying it because I might be only 3% of what you are, but I know that being 3% of what you are, I invest my entire life for Chelsea. I miss so many things. I don't have to go and say anything. I just sacrifice many things in life for Chelsea football. And I think I'm 3 or maybe 4% of you at best. We don't need to do that. I feel bad for the last 2 3 weeks, always trying to defend myself. I won't do anymore. If people don't understand, they don't understand. If we are criticizing, is because we see it that way. And being critical does not mean you're against the club or
Yep,
you're being negative or you
yep,
have bad will or evil will intention. Come on, grow up. I'm
yep.
sorry about that, but I had to say that. So, DJ, now I will need a favor, uh, I'll say small favor, but it's a favor. I'll be away for 3 to 4 minutes because I need one coffee. But I'll be
Sure.
back very soon. But I'll put this out
Okay.
there. I'll be hopefully be back in 3 maximum 4 minutes. I'll just go to the kitchen, make a coffee, and
Okay.
come back as soon as possible. So I
You're
appreciate it,
gonna.
brother. So Conor
Yeah.
Gallagher.
Sure.
So I'll leave
Yes.
this for you. Conor Gallagher will speak with new Chelsea boss Enzo Maresca after the
Yep.
European Championship come to a close. That will be on Sunday.
Yep.
And
Yep.
of course, we'll talk on the game as well. So, to determine his role in the team according to
Yep.
90-minute football. So, I'll be back in a bit.
Sure. Yeah, listen, that's an interesting one. It'd be nice to hear the views and opinions of people in the comments regarding this. I know there are a lot of fans out there that have their take on Conor Gallagher. I know there are some fans that want him sold, some actually want him to stay. I'm one of those who actually doesn't want to see him sold. I think if they obviously they're going to, if he does get sold, it's going to be for pure profit and pure profit only. I always say, obviously we all know his contract situation. His contract runs out next season. So he's got in January, he's allowed to talk to clubs and he can possibly go for less money or go on a free next season. So I just, for me, look, I always said it before, if he's 100, I mean, look, Conor Gallagher has been, whatever people want to say, and everyone knows how much I rate Enzo Fernandez and I rate Caicedo, but let's be real. Conor Gallagher has been our best midfielder, everyone, for the majority, I'd say probably half of the season, than those two have. And, people may look at his situation and say he's just an energy player. He gives his energy. He goes up and down, does what he needs to do. It's Conor Gallagher, whatever. However, he's still been a better midfielder than those other two have, at least this season in my books. And he's helped Chelsea out in certain situations, as we know, when things are. He's also the captain, obviously, or whatever you want to call him, vice captain. When Reece James obviously because of Reece James's injury, he's been vice captain. He's been doing that job pretty well as well. I'd like to know what people's views and opinions are on Conor Gallagher. I mean, it looks like if he does go, I hope he can stay. I hope they can come to some kind of an agreement. If he can't sign a new contract, I'd stay. Also, I probably would say maybe if look at the situation in pre-season, look at his situation and see if he's going to be one of the players that can be given a place in this midfield. Now that we've got Dewsbury Hall, we've got Lavia now coming back from injury. How's that midfield going to work? You also got players like Santos, Chukwuemeka, all fighting for that place. We all know that. Ukachukwu is going to be going out on loan, possibly. So is he not going to be getting into this Chelsea team anytime now? So it looks like Santos is going to be fighting along with Conor Gallagher in that Chelsea midfield for next season. Because let's be real here, I think at this moment in time, guys, if we're setting up a Chelsea midfield now, obviously bearing in mind Lavia has just come back from that long-term injury, you feel the midfield for next season is going to be starting at least Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, and Dewsbury Hall. Okay, probably for next season at the start at least. So for me, look, if Gallagher can come in and do what he can do, I would keep him around. But I just feel if the right money comes for the player, we all know Atletico Madrid is showing interest in him. There's also talks of players at clubs in England, like the Tottenhams, dare I say their name, Newcastle, and players and teams like that, Aston Villa, are all looking at his situation at Chelsea. What would you guys think would be the best thing for Conor Gallagher? I, for one, would hope to say keep him around if we can do. If not, sell him, but sell him for the right amount of money now. They're looking around they're saying 50 million plus for him, for Conor Gallagher. What do you guys think in the comments? Do you think he's worth that kind of money? Would you hold on to Conor Gallagher? Or would you say, no, let's cut our ties and just sell him on that one? But my take will be on Gallagher is, keep him around the football club if we can. Because let's be real here, guys. We're going to be playing more than one competition next season. I do believe you've got the Club World Cup as well next season. So if we end up also making the Conference League, because we've also got to play the qualifiers in that, we're going to be playing, I'd probably say, over 50 games next season, the way it's all going. So what do you guys think? Well, it'd be nice to know what people's opinions and views are on Conor Gallagher in that way. I hope they can come to some kind of a conclusion for him in that way. But yeah, let's see. Other things I was also going to say, I was just also going to reboot on my comments I said earlier on about my views on these owners. I respect everyone's views and opinions in the comments that people say. So if you guys have got your take on the owners and you think differently to me, I'm not going to argue with you guys. That's your views, that's your opinions, and I won't, what do you call it? I've just got mine, and mine's always been that green flag, unfortunately, or that red flag, if you want to call it that, until I see some kind of ambition from them in terms of that. So that's the only reason why I said what I said earlier on to you guys. So I know people have got their mixed views and opinions on the owners. So yeah, just to make that one clear again. But I think what we're talking about here is Conor Gallagher. So it'd be nice to get people's views and opinions in the comments. I don't know if Jersey's back yet. You are back. Brilliant. You're on mute. Jersey, you're on mute, bruv.
Oh, sorry.
That's all
I
right. No
got to.
worries.
I
That's
was
all
on
right, bruv.
mute, right? Okay.
No worries.
Yeah, so on my says on Gallagher, if the club is deciding to keep him, then why put him on the market? I think we don't know if they want to keep him, right? Is there any suggestion or any news that the Chelsea board wants to keep
Yeah.
him? DJ?
Yeah, well, look, as far as I know, from what I've heard, it's mixed views I'm getting on Conor Gallagher from what I'm hearing and people have been telling me and people I've been getting told from. The mixed views I'm getting is that there are he wants Maresca does obviously that I think Maresca does see a place for him in the Chelsea team. And then you also heard talks that these owners are now looking at giving him a new contract. And then you're hearing again that every time you're reading up, there's players that he's one of the players that's going to be sold, along with Chalobah, and along with other players in the team that are going to be sold on. So look, for me, I've got my views on Conor Gallagher is I don't think I personally think we've got him for another year. I know a lot of I know there are a lot of fans out there, and I don't want to mention there are some on some YouTube channels that are out there that want Conor Gallagher gone. They want him sold. They don't think he's good enough for the football club. They know he's not what he is, and because he's a Cobham boy, I think a lot of fans are thinking that's why a lot of Chelsea fans want him to stay because he's a Cobham boy. It's not about him being a Cobham boy. I look at the take of what happened last season, and whether these people want to accept it or not, Conor Gallagher was probably our established midfielder in that Chelsea team last season, and better than your Enzo Fernandez's and Caicedo last season. And Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo, as anyone would tell you, are probably two of my favourite players at Chelsea. Those two are, because I think they're a great midfield going forward for the season. All right, for the future, along with Lavia in that midfield. Right? Okay. But you gotta look at the truths and see from our perspective point of view. Okay. Okay. Conor Gallagher was far better our better midfielder last season, and that's just facts. It's not a lie. Go and look at the stats, and the stats will tell you that who finished the best midfielder before by the end of the season, and it was Conor Gallagher. All right, so for me, I think he needs to stay. I think personally, there must be a place for him in that team. I'd probably keep him and Santos as the two midfielders, along with obviously Dewsbury Hall and Lavia, Caicedo, and Enzo for next season. That would be my midfield lot. The other ones that are fighting to come in, and Chukwemeka's my other one. The other ones I'll probably say is loan the rest of them out because I don't think they're going to come. However, there's that thing about loaning. There's also that thing about how many games Chelsea and how many competitions we could be in next season, Jersey, because we're also not just competing for obviously finishing as a top four. I call it the Prem title, but you're still competing in the Premiership. You're competing for a domestic trophy in the FA Cup and the League Cup. You're also then competing to qualify for the Conference League. If we compete for that and we get that, and on top of all that, I'm not sure if it's this season or it's the next season, Chelsea, along with a load of other clubs that have won, all the teams that have won the Champions Leagues, okay, are going to be playing in the Club World Cup as well again. So we're going to have more games to play than expected. So for me, you need a big squad. And I know Maresca says he wants 25 players in total, but I think you find he may need a little bit more than that, come the start of the season, especially in all competitions. But on Gallagher, yeah, I mean, he'd be one of the players I definitely would keep. What your thoughts are on it?
I agree. I completely agree to that. And yeah, I mean, the club has kept us in the dark. I don't know, like I have to go back then because so many reports were there by a lot of credible journalists, including Ornstein, that one of the things that Poch demanded, or he might probably didn't use that word demanded or probably asked for or whatever, like in terms of negotiation or in terms of his idea moving forward. It's a demand in a way, right? So it's Conor Gallagher. Was Conor Gallagher. So I don't know if we believe that to be the reason, then you can understand the chances of him staying might be low. That's another thing that when Maresca signed, uh, we don't know his idea or his understanding of where he sees Gallagher in the squad, right? We do have a lot of
Yeah.
options. Lavia will be back. We have KTH. So
Hmm.
I think he's a phenomenal player. I think he's an excellent player. A lot of people criticize him and call him RR, right? That's
Yeah. Heard
disrespectful,
that.
I would say, in my opinion.
Proper.
I have said
Yeah.
that. I'm sure DJ, you have heard me that if if I have to, if I have to meet someone or give the keys to my bank account or my home or my family, I will give it to Conor Gallagher.
Yeah.
I'll give it to
Yeah.
Conor Gallagher. I trust him that much. So
Yeah.
we need someone, at the end of the day. You don't have to be the best player in the world. We need someone who is so professional like Gallagher. Honestly, I mean, I have really studied him. He's
Mm.
very professional, a great human being.
Yeah.
People forget how good a person he is. I mean, you won't find any, better than Conor Gallagher, how he conducts himself, how he talks in the interview, his family life, his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Everything, if you see, like, it's exemplary for the younger generation, in my opinion. And then
Proper Chelsea.
this, absolutely, proper Chelsea, and more than anything,
Yeah.
proper Chelsea. And this is a part of the game. Liverpool plays the same. People say, okay, so if Conor Gallagher goes in Liverpool's team, he'll be a perfect fit. If you see the
Yeah.
point, right? It's a way
Yeah.
of playing. It doesn't mean that the player is bad. You have to do these things. So, but yes, I understand. I won't say he's the best player in the world or he's technically, tactically gifted. But I don't know. Enzo Maresca, if he wants to really play a position-based approach, playing and passing in close pockets, then it might be difficult for Conor Gallagher just because he's not used to it. Not that he cannot do, everyone can do, he can surprise people. So I don't know. It's a close call. I have a feeling that he'll be sold eventually. I
Yeah.
do. Yes. So
Yeah.
um,
I
yeah,
no, I agree. I agree, Jersey. I think if he does, I hope he doesn't. But if they're going to sell him, you know, at least get the money that they're asking for him. You know, that there's a talk of, you know, some people are saying, you know, I saw at the start some it was some comments that were some reports going around that they were asking for stupid money. They were thinking about 70 million for him. There's no way a club is going to put 70 million down on Conor. As much as we call him proper Chelsea, we love him. Let's be real here. He's not worth 70 million. You know, in that kind of like way, I'd say probably, you know, they're now looking at 50. Some people are saying, okay, we drop down to 40 million. I mean, look, uh, how I look at it, you know, he's probably going to be sold, which is in some ways sad in some ways because he's one of those that doesn't want to go anywhere. And how I always look at things, Jersey, is when you when you got players at your club, and I know he's a Cobham boy, and people are saying that's the reason. I don't think it's because he's a Cobham boy. It's why yeah, okay, that does play, and he's got blue blood DNA in him. But when you got a player that wants to establish himself at a club that he's grown up with as a kid and playing through, and he wants to make something of his career at a club that he loves, and he wants to take this club to the next levels as a player, and thinks he can achieve that. This is what Reece James is. The same with Reece James has done the same thing, you know. And Chalobah, these kind of guys are all players that want to take Chelsea to the next levels, okay, and carry on the success stories that we've been, you know, obviously over the Roman Abramovich era, yeah, of years of trying to bring that back to Chelsea again. And when you got players like that want to stay, this is what I'm trying to say about these owners. You got players that want to stay, but yet they want to get rid of these players, okay, that want to stay. And whether people want to accept it or not, you know, our academy, I can tell you, our academy now is going to fall so short now that Neil Bath is no longer the Chelsea academy director there anymore. Because a lot of those players in the youth looked up to this guy. He brought a lot of them through there, and when they see him going, a lot of them are now starting. We've already seen one of our best young up and coming talents go to Liverpool just yesterday. Yeah, a talent's gone to Liverpool. This kid was put out to be the next Jamal Musiala, possibly, because of the way he plays and conducts himself on the pitch and the way he comes across as a youngster playing. And people were laughing, and oh yeah, everyone wants to be the next da da da. But this kid actually looks the business, and we ended up going and getting rid of him. And now Liverpool are going to take this guy, and he's probably going to do really, really well there, and probably establish himself at Liverpool. And you know what? I say to much as I can't stand Liverpool, and I don't like their fan base in particular because I think some of their fan base is so arrogant. Yeah, okay. I believe this kid has gone to the right football club in terms of developing his career, because they will bring him through. If he does well at Liverpool, they will bring him through there. We've seen that with them in the FA. We saw that with them in the League Cup final when they put us out. How many of those youngsters they started in that League Cup final and they put us out of that? So Liverpool will give the youth a chance. And a lot of the youth players now are going to look at the situation of Conor Gallagher, Chalobah, and I hope to God not Reece James. I think that could happen maybe the next 2 seasons or so. They're going to look at these guys. These have all been established guys that have come through, gone to the first team, but they're not. They're now being sold to make a profit. And so we already know their direction to get from the youth to Chelsea is going to be impossible, because all these guys are going and doing is buying talents from around the world and going to put them in the Chelsea team. Expect them to be in the Chelsea. What about your youth academy players that you've got here at home? We've been one of the best youth academy teams. We've been jealous, in fact, of everybody, because we produced the best youth talented players that have gone and won things on a regular basis as a youth academy team. And we're not even giving these kids a chance in the first team. Now, people talk about saying, "Oh, well, DJ, you can't have it both ways," because you're talking about bringing in experienced players. Yes, I agree, bringing experienced players. But if you're going to go down, if you're not going to do that, and you're still going to continue on with your route of bringing in these youngsters from all around the world, plucking them from South America, plucking them from Portugal, plucking them from Spain, plucking from wherever you want to get them from, look at what's at home, close to home. Because you've got some excellent established youngsters in your youth players that should be given an opportunity in the first team if you're going to go down this avenue. At least make them part of it. Yeah, okay, we've seen that with Gilchrist. Brilliant, that's 1. We saw it with Achimpong. 2, excellent. We never saw Achimpong after that 1 game he had. He's been more or less left out. Okay, so there are players that we are slowly bringing in there, but give these guys a job. But don't just let them go, because you're bringing in all these other players from around the world. So you get rid of all our youth players that we've got now. Because as I said, you can go and look back on it, Jersey, right? We've probably got one of the best youth. Probably, in fact, we are one of the best teams in the world for youth academy players. That's why everyone is coming to us and grabbing our buying our players, our youngsters, because they know what a good bunch of players they are. We've seen that with Musiala, all right? When he's gone to Bayern Munich, look how he's turned out to be. We saw that with, now Hudson-Odoi. Okay, he came into Chelsea. We're now seeing what he's all about. In bits of it, we're now seeing at Nottingham Forest. So we have got players that are going and making names for themselves elsewhere. And I really hope that we're not going to just let all these players go. And Gallagher's going to be one that's going to go, it looks like. But then all the other youth players that are looking at that, thinking, okay, well, they're going to get rid of him and he's been established from the youth academy, then what hope do we have? Do you get what I'm trying to say, Buff? In that way. It's worrying. It is worrying, to be fair. I'm not going to lie.
It is until proven otherwise, right? We'll go with the evidence and the facts. So, welcome, Nemia, if I pronounce the name correct. Please subscribe. Please don't forget to subscribe to Chelsea Sessions. And he says that Gallagher can't go inside the England squad. Well, Cole Palmer is also not starting. So, anything you would like to say to that?
What's that about Cole Palmer? About Cole Palmer?
No, we were discussing Gallagher. So,
sorry.
Nemia
he's not getting into the English. Sorry, my bad. My bad. My mistake. Yeah, it's right. He's not getting into the England squad. But what he is doing, Gareth Southgate, as we could see. I mean, look, the reason why I'm not going to knock Gareth Southgate at this moment in time, whether fans like him or not, don't think he's good enough. He's got us to a final. And he's got it with the squad that he had that day that played, and Gallagher came on afterwards. Now, is it the right decision to leave Conor Gallagher out at this moment in time? Yes, I agree it does. And the reason why I say it is better is because I look at Cody Maino, the Manchester United midfielder who's come into that team. All right? He's an absolute baller. And there's no way Gallagher gets past this kid who's come into the setup in England, setup in midfield. Because people are talking about maybe him coming in for him. Mainu, for me, has to be a mainstay in the England setup. That's why Gallagher can't get into this team. And you've got to look at. Unfortunately, fans are going to look at it from the big. I call it the big picture, and see how England and what England are doing and how well they're doing. Since Mainu's come into this England team, there's no looking back. England have improved in that midfield with Declan Rice. He has a very good understanding with Declan Rice. Okay, they play well together in that midfield for England, and look what it's ended up getting to us. It got us to a final. So Gallagher, in that kind of way, I have to say, in that kind of like way. Yeah, he's probably one of those players in this moment in time for England that comes on as an impact player. When, for example, England are winning a game and you want to close shop, bring Gallagher on, make him run down every little ball that comes into that midfield. He runs it all the way down. He runs the clock down more or less to come in there, and that's exactly what Southgate is using him for at this moment in time. He did pick him once, I do believe, for one of the games that he played in for the England game, but apparently he wasn't that great. That's why they took him off pretty early in the match. So I can't debate that one. He can't get into the setup, yes, but this is England. We're talking England. We're talking Chelsea, not England, in this kind of like way. So he gets into the Chelsea team, as we all saw with Poch when he was the manager. But with England, it's different because obviously they've got other midfielders that are better established than he is, and they're just facts. They're not lies. They're just facts. Nothing against
So a lot
Gallagher
of
either.
content, and the fans and the audience are absolutely loving the discussion and your take on Gallagher. So Andrew Phillips has an interesting point and a question. So is it possible, he says, is it possible to use Lavia as left back? So he invert to midfield with Enzo and I believe you wanted to say with Enzo and KDH and Caicedo as 8 and Palmer at right wing.
Oof. I don't know.
So much to digest, right? So much to digest.
No, that's a very good question, Andrew Phillips. Big up to you, brother, for that question. That is a good one. Can he do? Well, listen, we've seen invert. We've seen old Cucurella invert, haven't we? And he's done a good job since he came into that midfield when Enzo's been out. I think Lavia is a better player than Cucurella. I'm not going to lie, even though they're different positions. I think Lavia, correct me if I'm wrong, hasn't Lavia played as a right back for Southampton before he went into that midfield? Can he is or one of those that can drop back if need be? If need be, when called upon, I think he can do that job. But I'm not sure if it's a right back or left back he can go into. But if he's played that position at Southampton, I know at Southampton he was a midfielder. But I know there were times in Southampton sometimes used him as a fullback as well. I just can't remember if he was a right back or left back. Maybe people in the comments might be able to help me on that one. I think it might be a left back. I don't know. Listen, he's a better player than Cucurella. There's no doubt about that. And we're talking about getting a left back in. If he can revert to that, and he can play that kind of like way, then why not? You can still find a way of fitting him, Enzo and Caicedo into that team for that reason. If he can revert in that way to help out that midfield, But let's be real here. With KDH being bought, I don't think KDH has been bought to warm the bench. There's no doubt in my mind that the Maresca will start him in games, and there's no doubt about that. He will start him. I don't know if he'll start regular, but he'll definitely start him in games. But if he can play that kind of game, as I said, for me, Lavia is a better player than Cucurella. And even though Cucurella's had an absolute, probably been I'd say one of Europe's in this European competition. I'd say him along with Mainu and Yamal have probably been three of the outstanding players playing in this European competition. I'm not going to lie to you from what I've seen of them. So so for me, look, yeah, I think it can be done. But would Maresca do that? I don't know. Is another thing.
Okay, moving ahead from Conor Gallagher. So this is posted on goal.com. Enzo Maresca will provide the Pep Guardiola-esque football that Chelsea and Todd Bowley crave. Interesting, right? If we believe that to be true, and which is reported. So is it about satisfying what style of play they want? I mean, this is I don't know. I mean, I really don't have any comments to that. So I repeat, Enzo Maresca will provide the Pep Guardiola-esque football that Chelsea and Todd Bowley crave, and he adds, the writer on goal, but New Blues boss is a massive gamble, which I agree 100%. Yes. This is the main issue that I have, that the New Blues boss is a massive gamble. And the way I have lived my life or learned or was trained or in my current job, we don't take gambles. My work actually is, what I do is to minimize gamble. Maybe that is why I'm being so critical, I believe. So what do you have to say on that?
Yeah, listen, brother, I'm like you. I work in finance. Yeah. And let me tell you, we don't take gambles in finance. We always try to make a profit, not a loss. Well, that's the number one priority, yeah, in any kind of business that you're working in, especially if you're working in finances as well. Yeah. But look, listen, on this one, what I'd say onto this one is look, Maresca just goes in. What I think all Chelsea fans want to just see is is for him to build a team. Like, let's be real here. When Thomas Tuchel came to Chelsea, the first thing he did, and Jose, let's go back to Jose Mourinho. All right, I'll bring Jose back into this way. Right, one of our best Don managers we've had in the world. Don't care what anyone says, he was right, and he still is for me out there. One of them. When he first came to Chelsea, he looked at the Chelsea team and said, okay, where do I need to improve myself on? Okay, first of all, I want to build the defense. Built the defense. You had the likes of at the time Wayne Bridge, you had William Gallas, John Terry, and then you had who was the one at right? I think you had Glenn Johnson at right back. When he then came in, he looked at I need something better than that. So what Chelsea went and did, they went and signed Paulo Ferreira, Ricardo Carvalho, okay, and I think they brought in Basingua was another one that came in there. He wanted to build something. So in the end, he thought, I need to establish my defense first. He did that first, built a defense. Then he started to charge. Then he went on to the midfield. Okay, started to see what he could do at that midfield. And then he went to then obviously we all know he went for the forward players, and we all saw the football he was playing. Now people will turn around and say Jose Mourinho wasn't that great. In the very beginning, when Jose first came to Chelsea, Robin and Duff on the wings were probably one of the most attacking best teams out there that were banging the goals for us. You had Duff on one side, Robin on the other side. When those two were getting tired, you're being Joe Cole on one side, then you're being Sean Wright-Phillips on the other side. So we had that attack, right? These are the guys that were coming in and doing the job for us and smacking the goal. Then you had obviously Didier Drogba up top. You had Hernan Crespo who come on when need be. Then obviously Shevchenko came after that and so on. Obviously we had Anelka and all those players came afterwards, right? But that's how he established himself. Built a team at the back first, and then we went on to win things after that. This is what Maresca needs to do, okay? Because that's what Thomas Tuchel did when he came to Chelsea. He looked at the Chelsea team, built the defense first, and then we never looked back after that. We started going on winning games. We ended up winning a Champions League, Super Cup, and also a World Club trophy. This is what this guy needs to do. I know everyone's talking about, it's all about winning. I agree, it's all about winning. But let him build a team first from his defense to what he thinks is the best defense. Then look at the midfield, and then look at the attack. And then you go like that. But don't go and say you're going to come in and be like Pep Guardiola, because Pep Guardiola's football, for me, is the best football that I've seen probably in my years of following football. I mean, people go about Johan Cruyff. Back in the days, this guy could play some excellent football when he was like man Johan Cruyff. I talked about in your last stream, Johan Cruyff, when he was actually part of that Barcelona team back in the day. He was the one that set up that Barcelona team to go around doing what they were doing to this day. And other managers just followed protocol, followed it. You saw Frank Rijkaard coming in and doing it. You then saw obviously Pep coming in and doing the same thing, following the same thing. This is the same thing with Maresca. Build your own team, then you learn what you've learned from, as you said in your interview, you then take what you've learned from Pep, take what you've learned from Ancelotti, take what you've learned from Lippi, all these managers, these great managers you've worked under, and then you bring your own style into it and think this is what you should be doing to build a winning team at Chelsea. And I think he can do that. And we all know our history of Italian managers, apart from one, which is Mr. Claudio Ranieri, which got us to third spot before Jose came in. All our other managers, Gianluca Vialli, Conte, Di Matteo, Sarri, all these guys, Ancelotti, all these guys won trophies. Okay, that's one reason why I look at Maresca and think he can actually win stuff with us, but it's not going to happen overnight. No, we have to look at the picture first and say to yourselves, he's here to win, yes, but it's not going to happen overnight. Don't put your what do you call this all up, so we're going to go and do this. He needs to build a team first, and then they start challenging for honours. I would say for this season, build your team and try and get a top 4 and try and win a domestic trophy. That's all he should be looking at. Don't try and make your football like a Pep Guardiola yet. Don't try and make your football like a Johan Cruyff style way yet, because you're not there yet. You're not there yet, or like even a Jurgen Klopp. You don't do that kind of thing now. You do your own thing and then you build it up. It's as simple as that. So for me, that is what I think he should do. And I think if he brings that to Chelsea, the fans will see what he's trying to do. They'll be patient and he can go and then build a winning team. And then it's up to the owners to back the guy and give him what he wants after that. I go back to them again. Give him what he wants, but let him be allowed to build that team. Just don't demand him to come in and start saying, you got to win this. At least get him to fourth, challenge the top four first season, as I said, building that team, and then winning a domestic trophy. That'll be us all happy in a nutshell. And then you can start challenging and looking at other things down the line. That's just my take on it, brother.
Excellent, excellent, as always, to the point. So big up Victor, big up Victor. Ty is here. Ty is here. He was here on the stream at the start. He's backstage. He's listening and doing all the technological work, and he, I would say, I won't say chose me, but he was kind enough to ask me if I can, co-host the show. So the plan is to do it every Friday because Chai has a very busy schedule moving forward, and there are some other logistics issue that might be challenging for him to do so. So that's why he put faith in me to be a co-host. So the plan is to have a stream every Friday. Let's see how it goes. So thank you, Tai, for the opportunity and for the trust. So, sorry. So according to Daily Mail, I mean, it's posted on Daily Mail. So I don't know if I'll say according to Daily Mail. So published on Daily Mail, that Chelsea fans joke new boss Enzo Maresca will be gone in 5 minutes, and I don't like that. This is we are critical, right? But we don't make these. This is kind of disrespectful. But at the same time, I understand what those fans are trying to say. After the appointment of Leicester manager on a 5-year deal, I mean, everyone has their right, so I cannot say or point out fingers to anyone. But I just wanted to say that I'm not on that. I'm just criticizing what I see, what I observe, how I analyze. But the support is there. Support is there 100%. So I won't hope for, or I won't be expecting, or I would be like looking forward to that he would be sacked or gone in 5 months. But maybe this is put in a way that sounds too negative, but perhaps you can correct me if I'm wrong. The Chelsea fans who are saying this, perhaps the underlying factor is that they don't believe that he will be successful, right?
Yeah, well, I read that article and I think to myself, who actually printed out that article? Did you say it was the Daily Mail? Was it the Daily Mail who printed it out?
Daily Mail, yes.
As much as they're a good newspaper when it comes to the news and what goes on around the world and the global, whatever you want to talk about it and all the other things, when it comes to actual sports news, I don't really believe them. Just like the Sun, I think they just talk a lot about nonsense. And there may be some Chelsea fans out there that may be thinking that, but I sometimes look at that and think, is it Chelsea fans actually saying that, or is it actually right? Is it their take on it? Is it their take of what they're thinking, but they're blaming the Chelsea fans? It depends on who wrote the article, what reporter wrote this article, because usually 9 out of 10 times it's
and sorry to interrupt. I apologize. And how did they collect this data? How did they collect this data, right?
Yep. Because I guess they hear, again, it depends if someone, again, it could be two things, Jersey. It could be they're hearing what Chelsea fans are saying out there and they're just going along with it. Chelsea fans are not happy, because I know there are a lot of Chelsea fans out there that have not been happy with his appointment. I know a lot of people have obviously put an eye on it, a big eye on it, because this is Chelsea Football Club. This is not Colchester United or some club like that. This is Chelsea, the best club in London. Won everything in the game, all that kind of stuff. And you're coming to, when you come to a club like that, you expect to win. That's what that's what the mentality is, to win. Yeah. And so you're going to get some fans out there that are going to say maybe that, and then you're hearing these reporters reading these things, and you're saying to yourself, oh yeah, this is what the fans are saying, Rest is going to be gone, he'll be out of here by 5. Maybe there are some fans out there, some Chelsea fans that are saying, I'm not saying they're not all innocent and saying that none of them have said this. Maybe there are some out there. Okay. I think I've read on Twitter X to just tell you there are some fans on there that have already written this guy's history already at Chelsea. He'll last for about whatever, and he's going to be gone. But also there are some fans out there that are not Chelsea fans, and they'll just say what they feel because they don't like us. And we're one of the most hated clubs. Let's be real out here, Jersey, right? Yeah, when we were winning, we were the most hated club in the world. Okay, because no one liked us because we were winning, and they didn't want to see Chelsea Football Club go around winning and bringing all these players in and establishing ourselves as one of the biggest elite clubs in the world. that have won everything in the game. So you're going to get people out there that are going to come at Chelsea all the time. But there are some pieces of the fan base that are obviously been complaining about Maresca and about him being our manager because of where he was before he joined us. And I can understand it because back in the days when we were in the 80s, when you look at the managers that Chelsea used to take back in the 80s, there were managers out there that Don Howe that we took on. Obviously we had John Hollins. He was a former Chelsea player and manager, but we had players like that, managers like that, that were coming in that no one really heard of, and they were bought from the smaller league, smaller divisions. And I think they're looking at us now thinking Chelsea have gone down. They've gone down that avenue now because when it was with Roman Abramovich, he was used to always bringing established managers, as we all know, Jose's, Ancelotti's, and play of that ilk coming in, Conte's, and managers like that, Tuchel's. But these owners have not brought that kind of elite manager in. So obviously you're going to see fans that are going to turn and switch on him, and I can understand to some degree why fans are worried. But I look at it and I say to myself, give this guy a chance before making such actions, because these are the kind of managers that would surprise you in the game. And the reason why, even though I wasn't confident with this appointment in the very beginning, I was one of those fans that looked at it and thought, is he the right one for Chelsea? He's just come from Leicester. They just about won the first division. He got by with them just about, but he almost threw that away as well. Because even though they were scoring and they were winning goals, he almost threw it away. And in the end, he won it. But just about won the title and obviously got promoted, got Leicester promoted. Now at Chelsea, he's at a bigger club, as I said, more established players, better players. There's always going to be criticism on Chelsea because of the way we sack managers. And I can understand that way of why someone would put an article down like that. But a lot of it is all more to the fact that, that they already think that we're going to fail. And I don't believe we will fail. I think for one thing, we're going to have, we will do well with this manager. These owners just need to keep their word and stick with this manager, and give him his time to show what he can do. Because stacking another manager in the middle of this project as we're in, it's just going to start it all over again next season. And do they really want to put themselves in that kind of situation again, where the fans are going to continue to ask questions? They at some point have got to get it right. At some point they've got to get it right. You're putting this guy on a 5-year contract. Now people say contracts mean nothing in football these days because they still get rid of you. Agreed. But these guys have made this point about saying we're not going to get rid of managers. We're going to go down the avenue of just keeping the manager for as long as we possibly can, not go down the old way, or what Roman used to do. But they're going to do that, bring the right manager in. So they have to give this manager his time. Okay. And I hope to God that they don't. I just hope to God if they are the ones leaking this information out to the press, then they're making the press just have a field day. They're the ones that are once again making Chelsea Football Club a laughing stock if the leaks are coming out from Chelsea Football Club on this to these reporters. Again, it's got to be someone from up there that are putting out these leaks, and I hope to God it's not the case. But I hope they prove us wrong and he stays at Chelsea. I really do.
Yes, absolutely. Big up to Ray. Thank you for joining the stream. Ray is saying that I've been listening to the stream for 30 minutes now. Great deal and discussion. Thank you for your appreciation. It's all because of DJ. DJ is here.
Both of us, bruv. Both of us, bruv. So, you as well.
So the show is. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words. So big up to Annalise. Thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to subscribe to Chelsea Sessions. It will only take a second and it's free. It will really help the channel and the algorithm to promote the hard work of Ty and everyone over here, DJ, and in the community. Yeah. And as we grow, it's just the beginning, as we say. So thank you for the support, but please give it a second and please subscribe to Chelsea Sessions.
What likes are we on? How many likes are we on, Jersey? How many likes are we on? How many likes
I will have to go because Ty is looking at the backstage. I'm not on YouTube. Give me a second. Give me a second.
Likes up, subscribe.
I'll confirm that in a while because I am totally over here at the backstage, so I cannot see over here. So I'll confirm that in a second. So this is very interesting post, right? And this is something that Enzo Maresca said while he was at Leicester. He says, mostly you have to defend against quick transitions with only 3-4 players. In possession, teams bring fullbacks teams, yeah, bring fullbacks and central midfielders higher, so only central defenders, and depending on the formation, one or two central midfielders stay at the back. So is clearly, describing his
Yes.
philosophy and what he believes in. That's one of the
Yep.
reasons why. That's one of the reasons why we use inverted fullbacks. This allows us
Mhm.
to defend with five players when we lose possession in attack. Amazing. I mean, this looks amazing. This
Yep.
looks. I mean, the guy
100%.
is tactical. There's no doubt he's tactical. He's explaining it. You know, I see only a few managers who would go and talk too much on tactics,
Yep.
like a Tuchel, like a Conte, Mourinho. Most of the
Yes.
managers throughout the season would only hint to a few of the things they are doing. But at
Yep.
Leicester, as you can see also in other interviews, he talks a lot about tactics. So that's a huge positive. We would like to know, his style, his philosophy, why he's
Hmm.
doing what he wants to do. So of course, so we can expect the inverted fullbacks, and of course the understanding is, to load the midfield, to have a balance in attack and the defense, because when you're in the midfield it will help you with the retention, ball possession, football, right? We will
Yep.
have the fullbacks assisting in the midfield to the wingers with the passes, and at the same time, because you're playing, this is my understanding, because you're playing in possession based football, the inverted role will be key, because you will most likely have the possession, and if you lose the ball, it's likely that you will lose it on the final third or higher on the pitch. So the inverted fullbacks, can will have enough time to transition back and uh, join the defense. So all in all, it really makes sense. So please go ahead. This
Yep.
is what I think, and this looks great. So please go ahead
Yes.
and talk about the tactics, the inverted fullbacks that Enzo Maresca is so focused on using.
No, excellent. And the thing of all is you've got to have those. You've got to have the right plays in the squad to do that. And I think he believes. The good thing is he believes that we've got those plays in the team to do that. And if you look at the teams that we've got to do that, if you look on both sides, that could possibly do it now. I know people have said that Reece James could be playing in a different position next season. There's talk that he could be playing somewhere different in this Maresca team. However, if you need to do the inverted wing backs, as we said, you've got Chilwell and Cucurella on one side, and you've got Gusto and Reece on the other side. So they are more than established to go and do something like that if need be. Okay, and if you need to drop Lavia there as well, you can do that as well if need be, because he can. I said I think he did that at Southampton if need be as well. So I can understand why he's saying that, and I think when he's doing his training sessions on the field, I think maybe he's trying to look at that and think maybe that could be the way a way for Chelsea for and he sees that as a strong point for next season going forward into the start of the new season. The only thing I will say on it is as much as he's dropping his tactics, sometimes don't give too much away to the press. Don't give too much away to what you're doing, because when you're already, as much as you want to say how great this is to do, and listen, I'm not to argue with the guy, because the guy's a coach. He's probably more on tactics. He's more on tactics and things more than I do. I've played the game. I know tactics, but not from a manager's perspective point of view or a coach. Just playing the game. Okay, so I know in that kind of like way, where you need to be in the positions you need to play. But what he's basically saying is he's already got an establishment of what he sees this team can do. And all I think I would just say is, yeah, keep it under wraps if you can, because I know Jose and Thomas Tuchel used to speak a lot about their tactics back before when they first came, and maybe he's taken a bit of that. I know Pep Guardiola is very much quiet on that. He doesn't say much on tactics. The guy doesn't give anything away when it comes to talking about things like that. So yeah, keep that on under wraps if that's what he thinks is going to be the thing going forward. But then he could also be playing a trick on the rest of us. It could be something he's saying to these people, they think that way, and he's really got something else in the back of his mind. That's how these managers think, these coaches think. But that could be one of the things he will use. But yeah, I mean, he obviously knows it, and if it worked at Leicester and he thinks it can work at Chelsea, let's be real here. Poch was playing inverted wing backs as well in things. So bringing Cucurella into where he needs to bring and all that. So yeah, I mean, if it works, it works. So I've got nothing against that. But I just say keep it under wraps. Don't let everyone know what you're planning on doing for next season.
100%, 100% agree with you. It could be both. Maybe he is so confident and he just wants to share with the Chelsea fan base or the media that what he wants to do, or it could be a trick as well, right? To and it can work, right? To just give the idea to the opposition what he wants to do, and has planned something else. So, but I believe that he will use it based on what he has done at Leicester and the profile that we have. The current profile of the players, and given, and it's highly likely that he'll play a possession-based
Look, but
football.
bear with me 1 second, brother. I just got someone at the door. Yeah, can you hold fort for me? I'll come back in a minute.
Sure, sure, sure. Please take your time. Please take your time. No problem. Take your time. So yes, so this is a good approach, and I think Pep Guardiola, at Manchester City, came up with this idea, and it really worked well. So we can see Pep Guardiola is a pioneer, right? And Arteta, uh, Enzo Maresca, of course, they worked under him. But Arteta, if you see in the first 2 seasons, he was more like using the Guardiola style, but he invented his own philosophy and way. So you need to adapt and have your own ideas, right? So we are expecting, or I'm expecting Enzo Maresca to have his own ideas as well. So talking about inverted fullbacks, like with Manchester City, we can see Jao Cancelo, what I remember, Kyle Walker, right, playing as inverted fullbacks. So because you have the position, you have the retention, you would like to overload the midfield. That is the concept, to overload the midfield. So you can retain the possession, you can help with the passing lanes to create more passing lanes. That is the concept. And because you are higher on the pitch, you have the retention, and if you lose the ball, right, this is the concept, right, then the fullbacks who are inverted have enough time to track back and join the defense. So it looks good on theory, and it is implemented successfully by Guardiola, also by other managers, and Poch was also able to get the best out of our players when he used Kukurea and other players using an inverted position. But of course, with every tactic there are also limitation drawbacks. It's a great tactic, but you need to rehearse again. With anything in life, you need to master that, because you can still, although it's easy to say that you are committed higher, and you are, because this is the ideal situation. You are retaining the ball is perhaps in the final third, and then uh, the inverted fullbacks will have enough opportunity to track back. But what if they are out of position? What if they lose position in a place that is not ideal, or that is what they were not anticipating? What if the opposition plays a long ball? So it's not linear, what I'm trying to say. A good strategy, Pep Guardiola introduced that and used it very successfully. As I said, Cancelo, Kyle Walker, even Trent Arnold, he was used as an inverted fullback. But we saw that Liverpool also struggled with this at times. So it depends. But all in all, if he's playing a possession-based football, I think it's a great strategy, and I think he will use it. But again, everyone can use a strategy or a formation or a tactic. It's how you use it, how you can sustain it, and how the players can adapt to it. And that is the question, and we have to wait and see again. We have to wait and see. DJ, once you come back, please let us know.
Yeah, I'm back, bro. Sorry.
So if you were hearing me, would you like to add anything?
Um, is this regarding the tactics thing again, or what we're talking about so far about the fullbacks and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah,
Or
I
am I
was
just
talking
onto
about
something
the
else?
inverted fullbacks, and
Yes.
yeah.
No, listen, as I said, yeah, I mean, it's obviously something that as I said, that we were doing under Poch, and if it worked well, as you saw when he did actually do that, it worked pretty well for us, and and I think we saw that towards the end of Poch's reign, towards the end of the season. And I think if this guy's got if Maresca is got the same way of thinking, and let's be real, a lot of these teams seem to set up to play this way, but I don't know. This is why I keep saying, on this is a lot of this should be keep it under wraps in terms of don't mention it out to what you want to try and do. But obviously we saw how it worked for Chelsea, and how good we were with it, with the ball and without the ball. So if he carries on bringing that to Chelsea next season, if he does, is that if he carries on doing that kind of thing with himself, then I don't see why it should end up in failure. It should be in failure because we already know the players already know how to play this way of doing it. So yeah, it should hopefully be a success for next season.
Very well said. And please subscribe to Thai Chelsea Sessions. Please subscribe. And yeah, please share it with your family and friends. You can see top-notch content. Thai is amazing doing the tactical
Yeah,
videos.
big up to Ty.
We learn
It's on.
firsthand from Thai, and I'm sure DJ knows that how good he is,
Yeah, yeah,
with the
brilliant. He's
tactical
excellent.
videos.
His
Is
analysis
excellent.
on
We have
videos is
all
superb. I mean, yeah.
we all learn,
Sorry.
honestly. He's so young, but he's
Yeah,
an example. We all learn, from him.
yeah,
And the videos are so informative, right? And he really puts in a lot of effort. So amazing
yeah.
talent,
He does
Ty.
his
Remember the
research.
name. Remember the
Yeah,
name, Ty. Tyrone, Chelsea Sessions. Don't forget that. This is the future. So, any final words? I think, 2 hour of great analysis. Of course, the show will continue. I think we have discussed Enzo Maresca in depth. We'll hit a little bit on the final England Spain now.
yeah.
So, any final words or words to the fans? What would you say to the fans who are? I mean, anything, like who are being, I would say, saying, like, let's reference the Daily Mail that he'll be gone
Yeah.
in 5 months, or anything that DJ, that your words means a lot to the community. It can change life, it can
No,
change perspective. So anything
yeah.
that could be helpful to the people in the audience, including myself.
Nah, listen, I've said it already, guys. I when you read articles such as he's only going to be sacked in 5 months. I mean, look, I get. We all know. I think the reason why fans feel this way is because we all know how Chelsea Football Club used to operate in terms of getting rid of a manager. He'll be gone, or he'll be sacked by Christmas. He'll be sacked by Easter. He'll be sacked by this, and he'll be sacked by that. At the end of the day, yeah, always remember one thing, and I think I think he'll be a good manager for us. I just think we need to be patient with him. As I said, for me, he needs support. He needs the right players that he wants to make this team successful. Just don't expect high expectations. I know there are a lot of fans out there that want us to see us challenge. I'm anyone that knows me will tell you right now, okay, that I'm a guy who wants to see my team up there every season challenging for titles. That's where we belong. That's who we are. Yeah, that's who we are. But obviously, since these new owners have come in, they've done it in a completely different way. It's a way that I feel at this moment in time lacks ambition. And people can go on about saying you spent £1 billion. We should be trusting it all. Listen, I will trust it to when I see actually working and seeing what's coming out of it, the fruits of it coming out of it. Because at this end of the time is what you guys have said so far, you've not really followed. I mean, you said you were not going to sack any managers when you came on board. We're not going to be like the old school. We're going to sack managers. We're going to keep with it. You've so far. I think this is what I think we're going to the season now, Jay-Z, with what, our 5th manager of the season now, if you count the guy who was also who only came in as a caretaker boss briefly. So we're more or less
Yeah,
in our 5th manager.
let's
Okay.
say four. Let's say four, right?
Four.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
4. All right, 4. Okay, but still, it's still a bit. And for what they said was, we're not going to sack. Well, you've done that already. You've already gone past one word, and you've gone and sacked an elite manager in Thomas Tuchel. Okay, for what? For a sorry to say, a mid-table team like Brighton, who for their manager, it didn't work out. You then sacked him after 5 years. Good manager that he was, but Chelsea was clearly not his levels. But you would say he's a crap manager. He just Chelsea wasn't his levels. You sacked him and brought Frank Lampard in. Then you brought in this other caretaker manager to come in briefly as well. I forget, the guy who was there. And then before you brought in Pochettino. So far, your decisions on managers haven't been that great. And now you've brought in Maresca. You've given him a 5-year contract. Let the guy work. Let the guy manage. But give him the plays and support that he needs to go and get this team to where it needs to be, back up to again, challenging again, winning trophies. But it's going to take some time. That's why I said to myself, this season, my expectations, only because the players have been there for the last 2 seasons and we finished, and going by, we finished 6th last season. My expectations for this season as a fan is to finish 4th. At least try to get top 4. If we even get 5th spot, it wouldn't bother me. At least it's still a place in Europe. Well, I'm just being a realist here, yeah, and win a domestic trophy or a European trophy, whether it's a Conference Cup or the Club World Cup that we're going to be, wherever it might be. Yeah, but don't expect our club to be like winning or challenging from the Premiership titles and put that pressure on straight away on the manager and on the players. Be a bit more positive. Be positive, yes, but just be a little bit more. Be realistic with with what your expectations are as a fan. Because I think every time we have high expectations of our football club and it doesn't go to where we want it to go, the club gets the fans turn very quickly. And we all love our club. We all want to see our club back to where it belongs at the top, challenging on all fronts, and we'll get there. But like I said, we'll get there when these owners decide they're going to back the manager properly and give him what he wants. But in the meantime, support the players and and then players will get us to where we need to get to. I'm so sure about that. So that's all I can say, being a positive. And yeah, it looks good for the new season. Just as I said, just be patient with the manager and don't turn on him very quickly. There'll be times in games where we may lose games. There'll be times in games where we'll be thrashing a team and we will be loving it. But there'll also be times when we'll what do you call it? Top three. Jay Z, you're saying in the comments, big up to you, brother. Take top three. Listen, I would love top three more than anything. I said top four for me, right? Yeah, and I don't mean winning the Premiership, by the way. If we can get third or fourth, I'd be happy. At least we're challenging on. We'll be back in the Champions League again, where we belong. But I'm trying to be realistic here. If we don't get that fifth spot, I wouldn't be crying if we get fifth spot. But as long as we can win a trophy, and I'm seeing the football this manager's trying to play, and I know these players are playing to what he wants, because we've got the talent there in terms of some of the players we've got in this team. It's just we've got to be patient. That's all. I hope that's positive enough for everyone.
Absolutely amazing. Everything you said, it's come from the heart of a proper Chelsea. Also, being realistic, telling that we should know what's going on, and at the same time, we, support the club, support the manager, right? And yes, try everything we can as a fan base to give the support, and always call things as they are. If things are not going well, if we see the loopholes as we do, as we always talk about, we'll keep on talking about that. But the support shouldn't be compromised as a proper Chelsea, right? So I completely agree. So we have discussed in detail. Big up to JC. Thank you for tuning in. We already had a great 2.5 hours now show with DJ over here. And yeah, so we had an in-depth discussion, I would say. I truly enjoyed it. I hope my part was also good enough for the audience, and yeah, so I will do a show tomorrow where I will predict the top six teams, the top six Premier League teams, how they will finish from 1 to 6 tomorrow. Show top six teams prediction by the man himself, Jay-Z, who is not shy away to give his prediction. So let's see if I have Chelsea in the top six. First thing. Second, if Chelsea is in the top six, where will they be? And who will win the Premier League? So tune in tomorrow to find out, and also be a part of the show to give your top six. So DJ, before we wrap the
Yeah.
show, right?
Yep.
It's so important to talk about the final. England is in the
Mhm.
final. I had a show with Kumber, my friend
Yes,
Kumber,
they are
yesterday.
100%.
And
Yep.
I was appreciating Southgate, for a change, and because he made
Yep.
to the final, and I have to be realistic. And if you were hearing that, right? So
Hmm.
I was praising for a change, and praising because he made the second final back to back. And no matter how the team play, if it's a
Yep.
result-oriented business, so if he made
Correct.
three semifinals in his last three competitions, two
Hmm.
finals, then he's doing something right. And again, in the knockout tournament, you don't always play a progressive, flamboyant football. It's a knockout tournament. After the group stage, there are 4 games that you must win. Otherwise, you can go home. So you
Yep.
you you have to play safe, right? France, as I was referencing in that podcast, was I mean, France won the World Cup 2018, but they also played conservative football. They were the finalists of the last World Cup. Yes, this
Hmm.
and still semi-finalists after losing Pogba and other players. Karim Benzema not here, Mbappe injured. So the thing is that it works, and to the point that England underperformed on the pitch. Yes, I think they did, but at the end of the day, if the head kick of Bellingham or if the instances where they came back against Switzerland took them to the next round, not being perhaps the best team on the pitch. This is how football is. This is how Manchester United, DJ, you know better going back in history. This is how Manchester United won various titles, winning in injury time. So if we take all those wins of Manchester United, they might have five, six less Premier Leagues, right? So it's a part of the game. You don't always play 90 minutes and dominate the game. You can play, I mean, you want to play that way, but if you have a certain approach, you can struggle for 70, 75 minutes. At the end of the day, if you're winning the game, right, this is what it is. So, DJ, England, Spain. The final is
Mhm.
here. England has the best team on paper. I have always said that. And I think England is going to win the final now. DJ, what do you have to say on Gareth Southgate? I think we should appreciate him. And how do you see this final going? Is it coming home?
I'd love to sit here. I'd love to say yes, it's coming home, and I'm gonna say it's coming home. And listen, I'm not gonna sit here and knock Spain, yeah, because let's be real here, they are probably one of the best teams in the world. Spain are in terms of what, in terms of as a nation, in terms of how they play football and what they are, and you can't knock them for that. You know, they have been excellent, and you know, for me, it's not going to be an easy game. However, England, what I've learnt with England and what I've seen of this competition, because as I said, I've hardly watched much of it because of my move and everything, and I haven't had a chance to watch much of TV. It's just the last couple of games I've managed to follow and watch, which was great to see. Back to me watching football again because I've missed it in terms of that move of mine I've made. What I've seen of England, yeah, they haven't been that great in this competition. I'm not going to sit here and say we've been setting the world alight because we haven't. But what we've learned how to do with these players that we've got is how to know how to win games and how to close games down, which has always been a weakness in England over the years. Because over the years, England have been known for just like we've been known for more or less, okay, getting beaten easily, or we don't know how to close down when we got a lead and this and that. But this team are so together. I think this is the one thing I think people are why I think why I feel we're going to go all the way in this competition this time round. The team are playing for each other. They're playing as a. I'm not saying all the other teams didn't do it over the years, but this team you can see clearly you can see this England team are all playing for one another. And when you've got players that are starting a game, and then you're seeing players that can make an effect coming off the bench, you always just feel that even though Southgate is the manager, his decision making in the last couple of games have been excellent. Have been nothing but excellent in the decisions he's made, and they've been the right decisions. And we've gone on to win games. Yes, we've won ugly in some of the games, but that's how, like you said, in order to win competitions in life, you have to win ugly sometimes. You can't always play the best football in the world, yeah. But as long as your football's effective and you get the job done, that's what this England team is doing at this moment in time. And this is why I feel, yes, Spain is going to be a tough nut to crack on Sunday. But I just feel with the way England have gone so far in this competition, okay, and the way they've been playing, they might not be playing effective football, but what they do is they play together as a unit. And when you're playing that, when you've got, and so Spain as well, but playing as a unit but not being effective, and you're just winning games, getting yourself over the line, and that's what England have been doing. And then you've got players to come off the bench, like we saw the other night, Cole Palmer, and then you saw obviously Ollie Watkins coming on, and it was the two substitutes that combined that won us the game against Holland. And so that is why I feel this time round, we've got a great chance of winning it. And I'm not going to say here that I'm not going to try and put any doubts on it. I'm going to give Spain their flowers because they're not going to be an easy team to crack. It could go either way. Okay, Spain are going to make it difficult on the night. Okay, but I just think this England team will win it. And I've not had a chance to see, since I'm obviously born and bred in this country and lived in this country all my life. Obviously, I lived in Portugal for 5 years. All right, being my heritage country, but I've lived in this country all my life and been born and bred up here. I've never seen us win a big trophy. I think the only time my dad goes on about it, because my dad was around to see England do it for when they won the World Cup in 1966. I, for one, as an England fan, have not seen that. I've seen us reach finals and not two finals and not a second final, but a final not won it. I at least want to say in my lifetime, and I think all the fans, I can probably speak for all the England fans on here, are probably thinking the same thing, that they want to see us win a big trophy. 1966 is too long for this England team. And now we've got the chance to do it with this team. And whether people like Southgate or not, I think he's done really well in this competition to get us where we've got. And his changes have maybe at times not been that great, but been slow, but he's still got it done. I just think we've got this team, we can go on to win it. I really do. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, but I've just got a feeling in my bones this time around that England will do it. And you've got people that come off the bench and change a game. But like I said, I'm not taking anything away from Spain because they are going to be a tough team to crack. So it could go either way, but obviously I'm going to back England.
Yes, I think England will win this tournament. They are the best team in the world, and it's about time that they win the tournament. Yes, I'm very confident. They have players covered in every position. They are well rehearsed. They know how to get the job done. As much as people can criticize, I criticize. Time for me to shut up now and accept that England won. They didn't win yet, but England could win the Euros. And it's always about learning. I've been a supporter of France. They played the same way, more or less, not so defensive, but it's about getting the job done. As I said, people say England were lucky. Yes, so luck is a part of the game. Is it the fault of Southgate that Bellingham used his imagination and scored the goal when it was one of the bad performances of England? It's a part of the game. Ole Gunnar gave the Manchester United, who had his horrible final against Bayern Munich, the UCL in scoring in the stoppage time, right? DJ. So if that's the case, take away that UCL from Manchester United.
Yeah.
So there's so many instances. Yes, at the same time, I know what I criticized and the reasons I did, and many people that he plays conservative, and nothing wrong with playing defensive, right? Nothing wrong. The only reason why I say that or said that is because I still believe that the English squad is so good, and their strength lies in attack. And maybe, in my opinion, that he's not using their potential. This is what I think. But again, I have to shut up because I am the man of truth. He made it to the final. Maybe
Yeah.
easier draws, maybe lackluster performance, but he made it to the second final. Big respect to Southgate, and I truly mean it. So Ty is back here. Ty,
Big up to you, Ty, brother.
the
Big up.
magic is
Big up.
back, and thank you, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so as Jerry would have mentioned before, this is something that I'm hoping to do on the channel. The day is at the moment ideally on Fridays. The time will probably change momentarily, but yeah, I would like to say thank you to Jerry. I would like to thank DJ as well for coming on and giving his excellent thoughts on the various questions and topics that were presented. So thank you for always taking the time to join as well, DJ. And I'd like to say
Thanks for
that
having me
Jerry
on,
has
brother.
done, yeah, I have to say Jerry did quite well in terms of holding down the fort, as coach would say, and
Excellent. He was.
ensuring that it was free flowing and everything interacting with those individuals who were talking. Obviously, I was behind the scenes for the entirety of the show. Giving it a test run, see if this could work. And Jerry did quite well. And I have to express my gratitude to him for taking the time to do it. I mean, he didn't have to do it, but he decided to. So I really appreciate that as well. But it's that this topic is obviously one where it's gonna be ongoing. It never ends. But as we move into discussing the Euros final that will be on Sunday, which it'll be interesting. A lot of unexpected things have happened throughout the entirety of the competition. Germany gets eliminated was perhaps something that some individuals were expecting, some individuals were surprised, but the end is what it is. And as DJ was saying, as Jerry was saying, Southgate has to get his flowers. I mean, ugly, pretty, whatever the case may be, it's another Euros finals back to back. It's the second time of asking. and maybe it could be their time. Maybe it could be finally coming home. Maybe maybe it's that time, you know. So there's just one hurdle left. 90 minutes of normal time. If it goes to penalties, then you never know. It could. It's down to who converts penalties, or whatever the case may be. But England, I would have to say they deserve to be in the final. They took their chances, and if you take your chances and you score, then obviously you're going to win the match, and they're in it. They didn't rob their opponents. That they won their matches and they progressed. Spain's journey has also been one that's been entertaining. They've scored goals. They've worked as a unit. They look more rehearsed in terms of working as a unit and a team. England have had a slower start. They've struggled to have that same sustainability and consistency when they play. Some games they start off slow, and then they after around 50 minutes or so, then they start to pick up in intensity, or it could be less as well. So, it's going to be down to who takes the chances and who outscores the other. But I think this game will have goals. It's just a matter of who will get the more goals, and which country will be able to to get over that final hurdle and win the final. So once more, thank you to DJ. I'm gonna allow Jerry to conclude in the way that he perhaps had in mind. So I just wanted to come on and give my 2 cents on this final topic, and also express my gratitude to DJ for taking the time also of his busy schedule.
Ty, it's a pleasure being on your stream, brother, as always. It's great chatting to you as well, man. I'm glad to see you're okay. I know what happened with the hurricane in your country. Glad to see you're okay and your family all well as well. Hope you guys had no issues or problems down there. It's great to see you back on here, brother. And hopefully hopefully you'll come on streams when we can talk more footy. I know you're behind the scenes today, but it's always great to come and see you chat football too, because obviously you're analysts in the football and the game itself is excellent. So it'd be great to see you coming and coming and chatting up here again. But I can understand what avenue you're going down as well, which is great. And good luck to you, brother. I hope it goes very well for you. But thanks again for having me on.
Yeah, so thank you, Ty. Again, thank you for the opportunity and thank you for your kind words. Thank you, DJ, for coming here, for, giving your analysis, top-notch analysis. I truly enjoyed that. I'm sure the audience enjoyed every second of it. Thank you, boss JC, for tuning in, taking the time out. Thank you to so many new subscribers and viewers. The support means a lot. Thank you to Chelsea Sessions Ty. Thank you to Beho, who was here earlier. Thank you to Rich Money Makers, the legendary. Without the sugar in the coffee, it was impossible, trust me, for me to conduct this show and to continue this show with the energy. And thank you so much. Thank you to everyone. There were so many people here. Let me try and see. It's difficult for me to give a shout out. Thank you for Nehemia for tuning in. I hope you subscribe, you enjoy the show. To Annalise, to Ray, to Victor, sir, thank you for your kind words as well. And Meyer, of course, you can forget Meyer, Goblin, Andrew Phillips, among many other viewers. Thank you. And don't forget to always support the club. We don't have to remind that. The support should not be compromised at any time for any reason. The support should be there 100%, right? I'll be buzzing when the first game will come, and I'll be a Ric Flair. I'll go nuts, and yes, when we analyze, when we sit, we just try to be rational and objective and call things as they are, right? uh, and if we just sing the praise that everything is good, then maybe I believe we'll be insincere to the audience, right? But the support should not be compromised. We are proper chills, right? Thank you so much for tuning in, and come on, you Blues!
Up the Chelsea. Peace, everyone. Smash the like and subscribe as always.